Welcome, Falcon fans, to the first day of the 2025 MAC Volleyball Tournament. Tonight we'll see the 4th-seeded Toledo Rockets taking on the 5th-seeded Miami Redhawks in the first of the quarterfinal matchups. Then in the second quarterfinal match, we'll see the 6th-seeded Bowling Green Falcons go up against the 3rd-seeded Ohio Bobcats. That match will start at 7 p.m. I'm Andrew Smith of the Falcon Media Sports Network. Sitting to my left is Ben Korak, also of the Falcon Media Sports Network. Be sure to check out bgfalconmedia.com for all coverage of BG Athletics, including the recap of the matches today. Ben, it's good to have you back on a volleyball broadcast after you spent the last few weeks casting BG hockey games. How are you feeling about the matches today and the tournament overall this weekend?
Yeah, it's good to be back. I think the last game I called was Toledo here in the Stroh Center, so it has been a while. It's been a couple of weeks, but very excited for this entire week of Mid-American Conference volleyball coverage that we'll have here on Falcon Radio, the 2 games today, 2 games tomorrow, and 1 on Sunday. Andrew and I will be with you for it all, so it'll be a blast. Yeah,
it's going to be quite a ride, and the winner of this match is going to be facing off against Ball State, who are obviously the team to beat in this tournament. They only lost one MAC match all season long, and that was in a split 2-game series to the 3rd-seeded Ohio Bobcats, who the Falcons are going to be facing off against later tonight. But who do you think, obviously besides Ball State, is the dark horse to win this tournament?
Yeah, I really like the way Toledo has played this season. I think down the stretch they hadn't played too well, but I think they're a very talented team, played very well against tough competition earlier on in the season. They finished 11-7, only a game above the 5th and 6th seeded Bowling Green and Miami. But again, down the stretch of the season, didn't play too well. I think they're one of the more talented teams in the tournament. They'd probably be my dark horse, but I do think Ball State and Western Michigan, the top 2 seeds, are clearly the favorites in this year's MAC tournament.
Those 2 teams obviously are the favorites here. They both have played phenomenally all season, but I like you calling out the Rockets as a bit of a dark horse to win this one. They got an extremely talented roster. They may have performed a little bit weaker in the back half of the MAC season, but they won their last game of the regular season against the Akron Zips in a 4-set win that just feel like they took over, especially in that 4th set, won at 25-14. So they ended the regular season on a good note, on a high note, heading into the tournament. And I think they're ready to take this one on as this year's 4th seed after being the 6th seed in last year's tournament. But they've never won a MAC tournament, the Toledo Rockets, despite how long they've been in the MAC conference.
Yes. Since 1951, actually, was when they joined the conference. They've had tournaments since 1980, and Toledo, as you mentioned, have never won one.
And for today's match, we're seeing 2 teams between the Rockets and then also the Redhawks, who split their 2-game series at Savage Arena in Toledo this year. What are the keys for these 2 teams? They want to be successful tonight against the other.
Yeah, for Miami, it's going to be what brought them success all season. It's going to be their blocking. They are the number 1 blocking team in the Mid-American Conference. They have done fantastic with blocks. Gentry Warwick being the first one, 163 total blocks this season, and Lauren Coyne, their right side, has added 91. You just look through the entire roster and you see a ton of blocking. That's been their strength all season. That's how they've won games, especially against pretty good opponents. I think Miami has to focus on their blocking today, as well as rely on their freshman outside hitter, Molly Creech. You know, she was kind of robbed of a Freshman of the Year award from the right side for Ohio, Bailey Blair, who we'll hear from later today in Bowling Green versus Ohio's match. But she had a fantastic season this season, the 325 kills at about a 200 hitting percentage, 22 aces, and 410 digs for the Miami Redhawk lead in both digs and kills. She's going to be a big key to get her moving for Miami today. For Toledo, they have really played very well against almost every team they played against this season. Not too many things that they do poorly. I do think their blocking, and Sierra Pertzborn, namely, is going to be big for them. Sierra Pertzborn, All-MAC second team that was named yesterday. She's 5th in the Mid-American Conference in total aces. She affects the game hitting. She affects the game, from the serving stripe. She affects the game blocking. She does everything so well, and getting the redshirt sophomore Sierra Pertzborn and middle blocker in the game and effective for Toledo is going to be big for them.
Pertzborn also 3rd in the Mid-American Conference in total blocks this season. Ben, you mentioned that blocking of Miami as well. What stands out to me the most about the Redhawks isn't necessarily the total blocks, which they are phenomenal at regardless, blocking assists across the board, but also their solo blocks are really what makes them stand out. They have 82 this season. The second place team in solo blocks is Kent State with 71. So they have absolutely dominated the field in that regard. And you want to talk about Gentry Warwick leading the team. She leads the conference in solo blocks with 36. So this is a Miami team that saw it most significantly in their series against Bowling Green. It's a team that wins those one-on-one matchups on defense while blocking more so than anybody in the conference, and they make it impossible for teams to go down the middle, which is, it hurts you a lot if you're Toledo, because that's a team that loves to utilize the middle blockers attacking as much as they possibly can. Kelsey Smith loves to turn as many of her attacks as she can, even if she's setting from beyond the 10-foot line to her middles in Sierra Pertzborn.
Yeah, Kelsey Smith, definitely a fantastic setter. Pertzborn definitely does like to strike from the middle. That's a lot of what she does. She does utilize the slide some, but they do have a great right side hitter and outside hitter with Olivia Heitkamp and Sophie Catalano. But yeah, Miami's solo blocking has been amazing. They're great in the middle of the court, which is rare for MAC teams to find. Normally you find a lot of MAC teams that can block well on the pins, but the ability to slow balls down in the middle and get block kills from the middle as well is big for Miami. It's one of the reasons that they're able to stay in games, even though they're not statistically one of the best teams in the MAC, maybe statistically the worst team in the Mid-American Conference tournament. But just that blocking is so stifling, and especially for a Toledo team that all of their attacks are coming from Heitkamp, they're coming from Catalano, they're coming from the middle with Pertzborn. It's going to be really key for Miami today to make sure that they establish their block early and hold that throughout the entire match today.
I also think it's key for Miami to swing to kill. They oftentimes will fall into a cycle of getting, besides Creech, of just getting tips and rolls over and just looking for placement, which can get you kills. But in the long run, a team like Toledo that plays defensively so well, especially in the back row with Grace Freiberger, you're going to struggle to get kills that way. And so they really need to swing with power, and they need to swing to kill. And I'm going to look for that from the middles in Gentry Warwick. I'm going to look for that from Chelsea Williams. And I'm going to look for that from Reagan Lance.
Yeah, Miami only 9th in the Mid-American Conference in kills this season, just over 12%. Their defense is amazing, and that's what's been able to hold them in games, especially their defensive specialist, Anna McClure, the redshirt junior, has just been unbelievable this season, and yet has still been outdug by both outside hitter Molly Creech and also Lindsay Karen, another defensive specialist that sometimes wears a different jersey. Both of them do, but she outdug Anna McClure this season. Yeah, swinging for kills is going to be a big thing. Not the biggest, not the best hitting percentage, I should say, from the Redhawks this season. But certainly you want to swing through a Toledo block that has good games, has its bad games as well, and you're hoping that you can force a bad game out of the Rocket block.
Oppositely, Toledo, so they have a great hitting percentage. Second best team hitting percentage in the MAC with a .221. And they also are the best serving team in the MAC, at least service ace-wise. They also probably lead the MAC in service errors, though, and that can bite them in sets. They committed 11 service errors in their first match against Akron in their past two-game series against the Zips. They turned that around then and then got 10 service aces the next day, and those were really the factor that lost them and then won them those games against Akron, which actually got Akron out of the tournament and is the reason Bowling Green took that 6th seed spot.
It's a very interesting blocking matchup, especially when you consider that Toledo is first in the Mid-American Conference in blocks allowed, only 208, and Miami's the number one team in total blocks with a total of 295, almost 300 total blocks in the season. So it's interesting there, and just, we've mentioned blocks. I've talked about blocks a lot in this pregame today. It's really going to come down to that blocking. Who can outblock the other? Can Toledo tool the Miami block enough to be able to eliminate it as a strength for Miami, and can Miami bring enough of a block to be able to stifle such a high hitting percentage for Toledo? 4th in the MAC in total kills with almost 1,500. They'll surpass that today and second in the MAC in hitting percentage with 22% of their attacks falling to the floor, which is an incredible number. And a lot of strengths for this Toledo team and just a couple for this Miami team. But if Miami can play to their identity better than Toledo does, every coach talks about that in press conferences. If they play to their identity better, it really is a toss-up today between the Redhawks and the Rockets.
Yeah, and Ben, before we get started here in the Stroh Center with this first match of the 2025 MAC Volleyball Tournament, can you tell me who, you've mentioned Sierra Pertzmore and you mentioned Molly Creech, who's the one player, though, that you have your eyes on the most to have a significant impact in this one here?
In this entire match, I'd have to say Kelsey Smith, the setter for Toledo, the only player in NCAA right now with over 1,000 assists, over 300 digs, over 100 kills, and over 35 aces. She affects the game in literally every way, and she's going to be big to look for Toledo, because if they can set her feet and she can set from inside the 3-meter line, it's going to be really tough to stop this Toledo attack. In a couple of games this season, she's had to run all over the floor making sets. If you can really center her into the center of the floor and allow her to diversify the ball, then Toledo will be in very good shape offensively today.
She's absolutely the general for this offense and for this Toledo team, truly doing it all. As we're going to get started here in just a few moments. So we're going to be right back here on Falcon Radio with the starting lineups right after a quick break. Don't go anywhere, Falcon fans.
Imagine home. The smell of coffee, the sound of a lawnmower, the sun's warmth on your face. Free to be yourself. Surrounded by love that helps you grow. This is a place to call home. That's an American dream we all deserve. But in 50% of U.S. states, you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Get hurt in a game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Check out more coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network on X at BG_FMSN.
And welcome back here into the Stroh Center for the 2025 Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament. I'm Andrew Smith of the Falcon Media Sports Network. I'm here with Ben Korak. Ben, you got the starting lineup for us tonight for the Toledo Rockets?
Yeah, I do, Andrew. Starting at the libero position, Grace Freiberger, the sophomore out of Lima, Ohio. Olivia Heitkamp playing on the outside today, the sophomore out of New Bremen, Ohio. Jessica Koslow also playing on the outside, the freshman out of Monroe, Michigan. Kelsey Smith, the starting setter for Toledo today, the senior out of Cicero, Indiana, and a transfer from Alabama, Birmingham. Anna Alford playing middle blocker, the senior out of Hilliard, Ohio, and her partner today, Sierra Pertzborn, also middle blocker, the redshirt sophomore out of Middleton, Wisconsin, and Sophie Catalano playing on the right side with the senior out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's the starting lineup for the Toledo Rockets.
And then for the Miami Redhawks, Hayden Hicks will be the starting setter, the 6'1" senior from Frisco, Texas. At the defensive specialist position is Lindsey Karen, 5'7" senior from Suwanee, Georgia. Molly Creech, the freshman phenom on the outside that we've talked a little bit about in the pregame from Cincinnati, Ohio, will be the starting outside hitter, along with Chelsea Williams, the 5'11" junior from Hawthorne Woods, Illinois. Ellie Hansen will be the starting libero for the Redhawks, the 6' senior from Ladera Ranch, California. Gentry Warwick, the 6'1" senior from Linton, Indiana, will be at the middle blocker position, along with Lindy Radoshetsky, the 6' freshman from Cincinnati. And rounding out the lineup is Lauren Coney, the right side, 6'2" freshman from Wheaton, Illinois. And we're just about to get started underway here as the Miami Redhawks starting lineup is announced here in the Stroh Center. Ben, any final thoughts before this one gets started underway?
Not really. I think, like as we covered in the pregame show just a little bit ago, it's going to come down to who plays better on the net front. I think Miami definitely the best blocking team in the Mid-American Conference, at least in the top couple. Toledo's not too bad either, probably about mid to top of the mid-level blocking teams in the MAC, but they don't allow themselves to be blocked too much. They do a very good job of tooling off the block and avoiding it all they can. So I think it's definitely, Miami the immovable object and Toledo the unstoppable force, and I think it's going to fall into a very good matchup today between the Redhawks and the Toledo Rockets.
These two teams are the most evenly matched, I'd say, in this tournament of the matches we're going to see. The 4th seed against the 5th seed. The top blocking squad against the top servings team in the conference. As we're going to get underway here in just a few moments. For now, though, until this match starts between the Miami Redhawks and the Toledo Rockets, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Falcon Radio with the 2025 Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
BGSU Hockey kicked off their weekend series against Ferris State with a 9-5 victory. This was the first time the Falcon hockey team scored 9 goals in a game since December 6th of 2019, when the Falcons beat the University of Alabama Huntsville 9-3. Key contributors for the Falcons included Noah Morneau, who scored his first career hat trick, along with an assist for 4 points. Dominic Ryman contributed 4 points of his own with 2 goals and 2 assists. Bowling Green would skate to a 5-2 victory in the next night to secure the sweep over the Bulldogs. This has been 60 Seconds in Falcon Athletics.
BGSU women's basketball heads up to Anchorage, Alaska this weekend for the Great Alaska Shootout. On Friday, they kick the tournament off by taking on the UC Irvine Anteaters. Lucas Kleinmeyer will be in Anchorage with a live call on Falcon Radio. Coverage begins following the MAC Volleyball Tournament action at approximately 9:15 p.m. on Falcon Radio.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and
Check out more Falcon athletic coverage online at bgfalconmedia.com.
And welcome back here into the Stroh Center, as now we're just about ready to get started here to kick off the 2025 Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament with this first match between the 4th-seeded Toledo Rockets and the 5th-seeded Miami Redhawks. Starting lineups are out on the court. Officials checking it off as the two teams huddle up to get prepared for the first serve here, which will be given to Miami. Back to serve is Molly Creech. The freshman is going to get things underway in her first ever Mid-American Conference tournament and her first ever season as a Miami Redhawk. She tosses this one up and Creech puts it over. It's dug out by Toledo. Smith goes to the middle. That's dug out by Hanson. Now on the swing is Williams. That's dug out by Toledo. Smith now goes behind her head. And in the net was Miami. I believe that was Chelsea Williams called for the net violation. So Toledo's going to take that point to get things underway.
Yeah, an early sign of tenacious block for Miami and something that they're going to try and establish. That's not going to happen the whole game, but you saw a very big blocking front on two swings on that play by Toledo.
And now Macy Metters checks in for the Rockets. She serves one over. Miami forced to give Toledo a free ball. And now on the attack is Jessica Koslow, who swings through. Block wasn't a problem there for her as she puts that one down to the floor.
We mentioned Molly Creech a couple of times, a member of the All-MAC freshman team. So is Jessica Koslow, the freshman outside hitter from the left side there. Just a thundering blast. First kill of the game.
As Metters goes over on her attack, Chelsea Williams is going to get the nod to the outside. She swings, hits the block, and it falls out of bounds. Good job tooling the Toledo block by her.
Something they're going to have to do today, especially a Toledo block. 5th in the MAC. That's not very high, but still pretty top of the MAC. Still a very tough block to handle.
Radoshetsky, a great serve that swung on the overpass from Metters, but Toledo keeps it alive. They're going to be forced to give Miami a free ball, though, as now on the attack will be Lauren Coney. She misses her mark, goes cross court from her position on the right side to the left side of the Toledo court. And so Toledo leads the first set 3-1.
Another freshman early attack there from Miami, who's got a lot of youth on their team. Lauren Coyne, pretty solid this year, 250 kills in just her rookie campaign.
And now a big block from Toledo. Sierra Pertzborn getting involved early in the blocking category. A nice serve, too, by Grace Freiberger.
Sophie Catalano also can't be forgotten on that block. Only 5'10", but she plays bigger than she is. Got up there pretty good with Pertzborn, who did get the majority of the ball, though.
And it looked like they actually blocked that one called out of bounds, so Miami will take that point. 3-2, nearly a block kill, though, for the middle of Toledo. As now going over is Koslow. Miami will get a chance now to attack with Williams, and Williams gets the kill. Puts the ball between the net and the block.
Very nice play there from the left side by Williams, just being able to utilize that block to your advantage, which you know is going to be there all game. That's something Toledo is going to try and establish themselves early, as you are with your block.
Utley now will serve for the Redhawks. This is probably the Redhawks' strongest rotation, and they're going to be brought out of it early by a nice attack from Sierra Pertzborn up the middle. A quick 3 ball from Smith to Pertzborn, and that's going to get Toledo another point on the board. They still lead 4-3.
Yeah, when you get a late block up on Sierra Pertzborn, you're not going to have too much success. You got to get up there early, and it's, the middle of the court's somewhere that Miami's been good all year, and you need that with such a stupendous hitter in Sierra Pertzborn.
Adamski put a serve over. Miami returned the favor with an attack from Williams that was kept alive by Toledo. They put it back over, and now on the Miami attack is Reagan Lance, and the junior is going to get a kill, tipping it off the fingertips of the block. That ball sailed out of bounds, and the score is now 4-4 with Anna McClure at the service line for the Redhawks. She puts one over. Dug out nicely by Toledo. Now on the attack is Pertzborn on a slide attack. It's dug out by Lindsey Karen, but it sails way out of bounds on her dig. And so 5-4 is the score here in the Stroh. Toledo leads as Koslow will now serve. She puts this one over. Dug out by Miami. Now on the attack is Creech. She rolls it over. Toledo goes on the attack now. Another one to Pertzborn. Pertzborn puts it over. Touched 3 times by Miami, but it falls to the floor.
Just a lucky play all around there for the Rockets. Just kind of dinked back over because they were a little bit, out of system and out of position, and just ended up lucking out that Miami was also, and Pertzborn did a good job of putting it in the right spot.
Sometimes better to be lucky than good, as now Utley turns to Creech, and Creech gets herself a kill, her first kill of the match.
She's a player you do want to also establish early with how much of an offensive force she is. 325 kills on the season. Just about a 200 hitting percentage, so not too efficiently, but they definitely have to rely on her.
Yeah, and rely on her, the Redhawks tend to do, as they overpass one. Toledo kind of had an opportunity. There was a joust at the net. Toledo going for the kill on a little bit of a swing from Olivia Heitkamp, but didn't get over, hit the top of the net, bounced back. Redhawks didn't touch it, and so that'll be a Miami point, and things are tied up here in the first set, 6-6.
Heitkamp was put on a little bit of pressure there. She got, 3 touches in a row and kind of out of position for a couple of them, and there's a very nice serve.
And that's a great serve from Hansen. Dropped it right in, landed on the back line. And the libero getting in the service ace category, first one of this match.
We were a little bit confused before the match started, Andrew, and why Ellie Hansen took, a libero jersey, the second on Miami to do so. But there you see it there, a nice serve.
And now a nice dig by her as Utley will turn to Creech, and Creech will get another kill, and Miami's up by 2, 8-6. On a run here, taking momentum, putting it on their side. And Toledo's got to find a way to curb this attack. This is what Miami can do. They can go on these large runs and just put the set out of reach. As Smith now will go to Pertzborn, and Pertzborn will put that down on a line. What a swing by Sierra Pertzborn.
It's just borderline unblockable when you have a couple of nice attacks from the middle of the court, and then you move out to the right side so effectively and shoot lines so well.
And Pertzborn will now serve, but she goes long. And that will be a service error for Sierra Pertzborn. She's got 79 now on the season.
Yeah, I think that might be the most in the Mid-American Conference. That is a ton of service errors, but she's such a good server as well, and you'll take the risk when you gain so much of a reward on the other side.
Mm-hmm. As now another nice serve put over by the Redhawks. On the attack is Heitkamp. Miami digs it out. Now Creech goes in the attack. That's dug out. Heitkamp again is blocked by Radoszewski. And the likes of Elmas. Coiney. Coiney's so big on that right side, 6'2", freshman.
Yeah, I think she might be taller than 6'2" as well. Looks like it here, but her and Radoszewski with the stuff there.
As now a emergency set by Grace Freiberger to the outside. Heitkamp unable to do anything with it, goes into the net, and so Miami now leads 11-7. Look at it take a complete hold of this first set.
You saw Heitkamp try to swing to the left hand of Radoszewski, who was on the interior of the court, trying to avoid the block that just stuffed her the shot before. And
and now she's going to go long on her.
Yeah, she tried to go over the block now.
Tried to roll it long, got 2 underneath the ball, and just ended up palming it, and it sailed long. And first-year head coach of Toledo, Brian Wright, will call timeout will take it with him. His team is down to the Redhawks 12-7, and here in this first set of the first match of the Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Falcon Radio right after this.
This week's Falcon Media Sports Network Athlete of the Week is hockey's Noah Morneau. The freshman forward scored 4 goals during last weekend's series against Ferris State. It was the first hat trick by a freshman against the Bulldogs since 2012, and Morneau was named CCHA's Forward of the Week. The Windsor native leads the team in goals and is tied for the lead in points. Head coach Dennis Williams said, quote, "Got a hot stick right now, got to keep playing him. He gets rewarded because he goes to the right areas." In 10 games, Morneau has scored 7 goals, 4 assists, and 26 shots on goals. This has been Falcon Media Sports Network's Athlete of the Week. Ben Korak, Andrew Smith, and the Falcon Media Sports Network crew covering the Falcon volleyball team.
And welcome back here into the Stroh Center in the first set of this matchup between the Miami Redhawks and the Toledo Rockets. The Redhawks are up 12-7 here in this quarterfinal match of the Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament, as Hayden Hicks, the setter, is back to serve. She puts this one over. A nice serve, dug out though by Toledo. Smith now goes to the middle, and that's a kill for Anna Alford. The senior from Hilliard, Ohio, gets herself her first kill of the match.
Even though it's still from the middle, it's such a different look than Sierra Pertzborn normally in the middle. Pertzborn swings down. Alford caught that ball and going up and just utilized the block. Didn't even try and find the floor with it.
Just tooled it right off the block, as now Kelsey Smith will serve. She puts this one over. It's dug out by Creech. Now Hicks will go to Radoshetsky. Radoshetsky is blocked. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. She went underneath the net, which affected the Toledo blockers, and so it was called as a violation, and so that will be a point for the Rockets. It's now 12-9, but Miami will get a point right back, 13-9, as Smith sails her serve long.
Yeah, nice block a second ago, though, by Heitkamp, even though it's not going to go down as that. She read the play so well, just got it with one hand. Really read Radoshevsky like a book. Still a chess match going on between this front court.
We said the blocking was going to be such a key part of this game, and it has been so far, as Miami is going to get a point here. Creech's serve could not be handled by Toledo, couldn't get it over cleanly in 3, and so another point for the Redhawks, 14-9 the score. Creech will serve again. Puts it over and out of bounds over the back line by about a foot, and Toledo will reach double digits, 14-10.
That's their first service error of the match, going along with the ace by Ellie Hansen a bit ago. Serves hasn't played too much into the match so far, but Toledo, one of the better serving teams in the MAC, actually number 1 in aces.
As Metters puts her own serve over. Now on the attack is Coiney. That's dug out by Smith. Now a set from Freiberger.
Oh my gosh.
Swung into the block, and now Toledo will get a second chance, this time with Koslow, but she's going to miss. Trying to go line, rolled it too far left, and it falls out of bounds. Miami will reach that 15-point mark.
Toledo's got more swings. They're just not landing as many of their attacks as you would like. 7 and 6 errors on 21 attacks for Toledo. It's 7 more than Miami has.
And that's really what Miami does so well, is forcing you to make attacking errors and forcing you to make the mistakes, as they get a great kill up the middle from Gentry Warwick on a nice 1-2-3. They got the free ball and they took advantage. Warwick put that one down.
All-MAC second team for Gentry Warwick, 9th in the MAC in hitting percentage, 132 kills in the season, and 163 total blocks.
And another nice serve by the Redhawks, but an even better attack from Sophie Catalano. Her and Pertzborn have been loving that line attack on the right side, and she rips one there. Radoshetsky couldn't handle it. She's a good receiving middle in the back row, but just couldn't dig that one out, and you can't blame her. 11-16 the score. Redhawks lead, as now Hicks will go to Williams, and Williams is going to get another kill, tooling the block once again.
Williams has got 4 kills now, and I think probably 3 of them are tooled off that block on this left side here. A very nice play by Chelsea Williams. She's done that so well. I mean, you got to make an adjustment if you're Toledo as well. Maybe bring yourself toward the middle of the court just a bit more.
And Williams has done that well all season. As now Utley will serve it over. Toledo will receive it, and now on the attack is Perchborn. Somehow goes off the block and keeps that alive herself. As now on the attack is Catalano, and Catalano will get another kill. Perchborn somehow managed to tip that ball, go off the hands of the Warwick block, then turn around, pick it up herself. Smith then did a back set to Catalano, who put it over on a kill. 17-12 the score. Miami leading. Utley goes to Williams. Williams gets another kill. This time didn't worry about the block, just ripped it line and dropped it in that back corner.
Avery Adamski for Toledo was actually placed pretty well on the back end of that play and let it go over her head. She might have had a good chance at least keeping the ball alive, if not have a pretty good dig on it.
Might have thought that ball was going out, but the wrong read by her is now an overpass by Toledo. The attack from Miami is blocked by Kelsey Smith enough to keep the play alive, but now it is Koslow getting blocked on the outside by Warwick. And another point for Miami. They lead 19-12, trying to reach that 20-point marker and trying to put this first set away. Toledo's is trying to come back, although it's looking more and more likely as they're down 7 points here in this first set, in this first match of the Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as Coach Brian Wright has called his second and final timeout of this first set.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
BG Women's Swim participates in the Magnus Cup Invitational at Busby Natatorium in Cleveland, Ohio on Thursday, November 20th through Saturday, November 22nd. Make sure to check out the recap of the event by Falcon Media Sports Network's Charlotte Beauvais on bgfalconmedia.com.
Check out more coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network on X at BG_FMSN.
Welcome back here into the Stroh Center. The Miami Redhawks are up over the Toledo Rockets 19-12, but the Rockets are going to get a point back here as that serve from Anna McClure is going to go into the net. And so Toledo will get a point back there. Kind of a lucky break for the Rockets, but they need to take advantage as they're down 19-13 here in this first set as Jessica Koslow puts this one over. Utley will now set Lance, and now Toledo will get an opportunity to attack, and they will take that opportunity and get a kill up the middle using Sierra Perchborn again. A nice set by Smith from the 10-foot line to her middle.
Yeah, that's 2 in a row now for Toledo. You can't nickel and dime Miami down to losing the first set. You're going to have to put in some pretty big runs here. That's 3 in a row now.
And that's another great point for the Rockets. An overpass from Miami. Utley wasn't able to reach for it. And Heitkamp put it right back down to the floor. 19-15.
That's Heitkamp's first kill on 8 attacks and 4 errors. If you want to know how big that Miami block's been, just look at that.
And a rip now by Molly Creech for a kill. Wow. She has quite a powerful arm on those attacks. Oh, my goodness. Got a hold of that one. Second blocker wasn't there in time. She took advantage, ripped it cross down the seam, and got the kill. Miami's at 20. As now Toledo will try to respond with an attack from Heitkamp. She'll try to go over the block, but Miami will dig it out. Creech now on the attack. She goes off the block. Toledo keeps it up. Now Smith to Perchborn, and Perchborn gets herself another kill. 2016.
Hey, just look at, we mentioned Kelsey Smith a couple of times, so just look to what she did on that play. Not only did she get the first set that didn't result in an attack, she slowed down the ball off that block recentered back to her, and then she set up that attack and the kill by Sierra Pertzborn. She just does so many things, affects the game in so many ways for Toledo.
And she's also just such a calming presence.
One of the most valuable players.
Team. One of the most valuable players in the MAC, and we've talked about it off air a ton about where we thought MAC awards should go, and you really felt, Ben, that Kelsey Smith got ripped off of a Setter of the Year award.
Yeah, certainly earned her way on All-MAC first team. I don't think there was any doubt the transfer from Alabama Birmingham, but I think just like Amanda Otten last year, the way she affects the game so many ways is just, in my opinion, more valuable than just a pure setter that's only getting you assists.
Her block here is tooled by Molly Creech, who puts it off the block and it falls out of bounds. Miami now finally gets that 21-point marker after staying at 20 for so long. Toledo has made this a set after being down 19-12, now down 21-17.
Yeah, that's what they needed to do, go on a couple of point run and bring themselves back into this. Now they just pretty much need one more to bring it back pretty tight with Miami.
Hayden Hicks now with a nice serve over. Smith, a long set, but a nice swing and a kill for Heitkamp. Not afraid of that block any longer. At least that's what you're hoping if you're a Rocket faithful.
Yeah, that's got to feel good for Heitkamp on that left side that has just been ate alive by Lauren Coyne and Lindy Radishevsky so far, just to be able to tool their block and get a kill off of it.
As now Smith will serve for the Rockets. Hicks will now go back to Creech. Dug out, but out of bounds. Toledo saying it's in, Miami saying it's out. The officials are going to agree with Miami that free ball that sailed over the net from Grace Freiberger went out of bounds, but it was very close. We didn't have the best angle on it over here because it was across court from us.
Yeah, with a bad angle, it did look like it hit the line, but you never know. And official had a much better view than we did, so you trust the official on that. No challenge coming either.
Creech put one over. Koslow dug it out. Now Heitkamp will attack. Her attack is dug out by the Red Hawks. They get one over with Williams. Now going on the attack was Alford. She was blocked. Now going right side. Smith's set is a little off, so it's just put over on basically a free ball for Miami. Now Williams' attack sails long on a nice set from Hicks. Williams not able to take advantage of the opportunity. Yeah, 22-19 the score.
If you're Toledo, so many points for Miami have come off of your block. You're getting to the point that you may want to open up your blocking lanes just a bit more because they're trying to swing over you. They're trying to swing off to the side and swinging off the court a lot of the time, except on that ball.
Except on that ball. That was ripped by Chelsea Williams. Redemption for the last one and put it off the arms of Metters, and it sailed out of bounds. So 23-19, Miami in a real position to win this set. Just need 2 more points to do it. Trying to get set point here. Kelsey Smith now puts it to Catalano. Now Miami will attack after receiving it. That one's put over by Coyne. That's kept up by the Rockets. Smith trying to one-hand set it, unable to do so. And it's put into the net by Alford on the middle attack. Bit of a 3-ball there, or at least an attempt to do so. So 24-19 and set point for Miami. Radishevsky will serve. Puts this one over on a rip. That one is one-hand set nicely by Smith. Alford puts it over. Now Miami will go on the attack. That's dug out. Now Toledo with Koslow will attack, and Miami's going to get caught into the net. Believe that was, yes, it's going to be called on Coyne. And a point for Toledo. They reach 20.
I think it's about the fourth time now that Miami's been called for net violation or a line violation at least. They're getting really in tight with that net to try and block Toledo.
They are the best blocking team in the MAC, but they also commit a lot of blocking errors for it. As now when the attack is Williams. That's dug out nicely by Freiberger. And now Koslow tips one over, drops it into the donut on Miami's side of the floor, and 24-21 now the score. Miami still leading by 3. They call timeout here. Coach Dan Gwitt has seen enough. We're going to keep it here and talk a little bit about what we've seen so far here in this first set. Ben, what are you seeing from Miami that has allowed them to take control for the majority of this first set?
Yeah, Miami's just utilized everything's revolved around blocking in this game, and Miami's utilized the Toledo block so well and getting kills off of it. 13 kills, only 3 errors. They've been efficient with how they've swung, and a team that's not very efficient in the Mid-American Conference, a sub 200 hitting percentage. So they just have hit so efficient utilizing that block for Toledo. And then on the blocking side as well, they've 3 total blocks doesn't tell the story of their blocking unit. They have affected Toledo mentally in so many different ways and changing the attack of Toledo and just stopping them from playing their offense in the same way that they would had Miami not blocked so tough.
And Toledo, I think the thing I love is one of those players that was definitely affected by the block early on was Heitkamp. She got the 1 kill there by I want to analyze that so badly because Smith purposely went long on her set, and then Heitkamp let it go across her body purposefully so that when she swung, she could put it on the right side of the block. And that was just super smart play by both those players, and they had to have talked about that in the huddle because it was coming out of the timeout when they got that point. So just a really cool volleyball play there as Miami is going to take this first set. The serve from Grace Freiberger sailed long and a little right. And so the final score of the first set, 25-21. Miami Redhawks lead the match now 1-0. We're going to take a short break and be right back here on Falcon Radio with the second set of Mid-American Conference volleyball action here in the 2025 MAC Volleyball Tournament. Don't go anywhere.
On February 21st, 2025, BGSU men's basketball upset Toledo at Savage Arena for the first time since 2021, defeating the Rockets 69-68. Falcon Media Sports Network's Tyler Kavlitz had the call of the game-winning moment on Falcon Radio.
Johnson inbounds to Campbell. They do not foul. Bowling Green marches into Savage Arena, exacts revenge on the Toledo Rockets, and gets a much-needed conference victory over their arch rivals, defeating Toledo 69-68. What an improbable win for the Bowling Green Falcons.
This has been a Falcon Media Sports Network featured call.
BGSU hockey travels to St. Paul, Minnesota for a rematch of the 2025 Mason Cup semifinal game against the St. Thomas Tommies at the brand new Lee and Penny Anderson Arena on November 21st. Join Falcon Media Sports Network's Nathan Burkett for Puck Drop at 8:07 p.m. with in-studio pregame show with Nate Hinners and Daniel Reidenauer at 7:45 on WBGU 88.1 FM, the home of Falcon hockey.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU Student Media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Check out more Falcon athletic coverage online at bgfalconmedia.com.
And welcome back here into the Stroh Center as the MAC Defensive Player of the Year is announced here in the Stroh Center of Grace Freiberger, and all of the Toledo fans in attendance cheer her on. Her team down, though, 1-0 here in the match against the Miami Redhawks. Looking to bounce back and tie things up at 2 sets apiece. Here in the second set, going to have to avoid that dangerous Miami block to do so, though.
Yeah, it's pretty much all revolved around the block for Miami. They really haven't attacked too great. 13 kills for 29 attempts, 3 errors. It has been very good, but they've had less opportunities to win off of attacking than they have off of blocking. They just have to maintain that block for the entirety of this match and trying to advance to the semifinals this weekend.
And Macy Metters opens up the second set by putting her serve into the net, and so Miami will take the first point. Radoshevsky will return the service favor, and Toledo will swing over a tip by Catalano. Now Miami will attack with Williams. That's dug out by Toledo, and now on the attack is Catalano again, and this time she's going to get a kill. Swinging through the block, unafraid of it, and puts the ball down to the floor. And now serving is Grace Freiberger, leading the MAC in total digs and digs per set, which is part of probably the main reason that she won that Defensive Player of the Year award. Now on the attack, Chelsea Williams on a quick 1-2-3 from Miami is going to get a kill, ripping it off the Toledo block yet again. The Rockets are unable to quite keep up with Miami's offense, and that small step that they're behind is causing Williams to be able to tool so many of their blocks. As Meadows digs out this serve from Utley. Perchborn goes in the attack, nice and high, going over the block and getting the kill. 2-2 now the score here in the second set.
Yeah, when they can get Sierra Pertzborn really active and when they get her firing on all cylinders, it's really tough to stop her. She's taller than a lot of people on the other side of the net. She can jump higher and over blockers. She can utilize the right side as well as the middle of the floor. Just so many things that Sierra Pertzborn can do as just pretty much a sophomore. And there she gets a block.
And now she gets a big block against the Redhawks and puts her team in the lead here early.
This is a big set for both sides, especially because, if you're Toledo, you can't fall down two. The odds that you come back are very minimal against a well-blocking team. And if you're Miami, you want to take a 2-set lead because the odds of Toledo coming back from a 2-set deficit are pretty close to 0.
And now Sierra Pertzborn will get herself yet another point for the Rockets on another kill. Another nice high set from Smith. She goes over the block again, and Miami's unable to keep it up. Got a couple hands on it, but 4-2 is the score. Utley now setting Williams. Williams with a rip again off the block. This time targeting Smith, staying away from Pertzborn and getting the kill.
Yeah, Toledo was caught a little bit toward the center of the court there. Left that right side of their court a little bit wide open, and you leave that much room for Chelsea Williams. She's going to find her way through it.
Anna McClure now serving for the Redhawks. Smith now on a nice setter dump. So clean and so swift with it. 5-3 now the score. Toledo up 2.
Yeah, first of the game for Kelsey Smith. She does have another kill, but not on a setter dump like that. And a very nice play, good recognition from the senior playing in her final matches of volleyball in the NCAA.
And now a nice serve
overreach
by Koslow. Utley getting called on an overreach. I'm not sure she even reached over the net. I don't know what the call is there, but it's going to be a point for Toledo. Reagan Lance and Coach Dan Gwitt very upset at that call by the official, but it will stay a point for the Rockets. They lead 6-3, but now they lead 6-4 as a nice rip by Molly Creech going off the block yet again, tooling it yet again and getting the kill. And this is really what Miami does so well. They're bread and butter while attacking. Not the best attacking team by far in the MAC, but what they do really well is they tool the block. Both Creech and Williams have done it phenomenally so far today. As Toledo gives them a free ball, Creech tries to go on a long tip after Lance dug it out, and she received the set from Utley. It sailed long and out of bounds. Rockets let it go, 7-4 the score. Rockets lead by 3. Pertzborn now to attack. That's dug out by Creech. Utley sets back to Creech. She'll swing through and unable to be handled by Adamski in the back row, and that'll be a point for Miami.
Yeah, I think Creech might have got bailed out there. She might have ran into the net on her way, but not caught by the officials on the net. And a couple of very nice plays by Miami the last couple. I do need to know the metrics on how many kills they've utilized that block, because it's been so many.
As now Hicks puts this one over. Toledo gives Miami a tip. They'd receive it well, and now Coiney on the attack rips it line. Freiberger can't handle it. 7-6 the score.
Yeah, you almost forget that she's actually a right side and not a middle blocker. 250 kills in the regular season for Lauren Coyne. Also 91 total blocks. So many points for her this season just on her blocking and attacking ability on that right side for Miami.
And now Heitkamp is blocked again by Coyne and by Radoshetsky. The duo teaming up, shutting that one down, and the second set is now tied, 7 points apiece. Now digging that one out is Koslow. Toledo is dug out by Miami, but they're going to get it right back. Smith blocked it, then put it up for her team. Heitkamp went on the attack. She was blocked but kept up.
Such a smart play.
And she's going to get a second opportunity. And a really smart play, like you said, Ben, recognizing that that one was really tight to the net. The Miami block was going to be there. And so instead of trying to swing through it, she basically tips it off the hands of the block, looking for the sideline. Had the block not been there, it would have been
I was going to say, it almost might have been better for Miami to just not block that ball. It would have just been a free ball, but you want to be aggressive, especially with the blocking, as they've done all day.
Yep, and now Toledo leads 8-7, as now Catalano goes off the block. She's going to get a second opportunity, and she's blocked yet again. One try, blocked, second try, blocked again, and that time it went to the floor. Radoshetsky and Creech this time, the duo. And Creech will now serve for the Redhawks. 8-8 the score. She powers this one over, tries to drop it in, but it goes about 1.5 feet or so long over the back line. And so Toledo will recapture their lead on a service error by Molly Creech.
Yeah, Creech had such a good bid for the Freshman of the Year award that she did not get. Bailey Blair of Ohio received that award, but such a good bid. 325 kills in the regular season, 22 aces, 410 digs to lead the Redhawks, and 46 blocks, affecting the game in literally every way.
She does it all for Miami. As now on the attack will be Koslow. A nice dig by Karen. And now Koslow will get a second opportunity. Karen will dig it out again. Redhawks now with an opportunity. Williams is blocked. Hicks tried to keep it alive after it got tipped by Radoshetsky, but unable to get good hands on it, and it went over her head, and that will be a point for Toledo. A nice block by them this time.
Yeah, even though the point didn't go their way, a heck of a display there by Lindsey Karen. 2 digs in a row to keep Miami in that point that they could have lost so easily 2 points before they did, or Toledo, 2 balls before they did.
Toledo now up 10-8, and now up 11-8 on a nice attack from Koslow. Tipped that one over and into the middle. Karen unable to get there in time to keep it up, and Metters will go back to serve again. Puts a nice serve over. Karen digs it out. Hicks now to Coyne, who's stuffed by Alford and Koslow. What a block, and Miami calls timeout. We'll take it with them. Here in the second set, Toledo's up 12-8. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more MAC volleyball action here in the Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament. Don't go anywhere.
The Falcons look to break their 5-game losing streak in their last game of the season as they travel to Amherst, Massachusetts to face the Minutemen at McGurk Alumni Stadium for some midweek MACtion on Tuesday, November 25th. Falcon Media Sports Network's Kevin Hutchinson and Carter Leonard will have coverage of the game on bgfalconmedia.com.
Looking for a BGSU Athletics talk radio show? Tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., where a panel of Falcon Media Sports Network members discuss the hottest BG sports topics. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Ben Korak, Andrew Smith, and the Falcon Media Sports Network crew covering the Falcon volleyball team.
And welcome back here into the Stroh Center, where the Miami Redhawks are up in the match, 1-0 over the Toledo Rockets, who, however, are up in the second set, 12-8. Trying to get it back to a tie here at 1 set apiece, as Chelsea Williams for the Redhawks will swing over. It's kept alive by Toledo. Alford's blocked on her attack, but Toledo recycles it. Another block, this time Coslow's block. Saved again, overpass. Coyne swings on it, and it gets to the floor. A nice job swinging on that overpass by Coyne, and it lands on that back line. And so that'll be a point for the Redhawks.
Yeah, you need to get more creative offense. Molly Creech and Chelsea Williams for Miami had 15 of the 19 total kills for Miami. You really got to diversify the ball more. Toledo's just going to block you into the ground.
Toledo forced to give Miami a free ball after a nice serve by Radishevsky, and that'll turn into a kill for the Redhawks. Now it's 12-10. The Redhawks have reached double digits, and Radishevsky will return to the service line. She puts this one over, a rip by her. That's dug out by Metters. Now Smith, another dump, and Smith, another kill on that dump.
See, it's just a smart play all around by a veteran setter that was picked up by Toledo this offseason from Alabama Birmingham. Just an unbelievable player for Toledo. Got some hitters with her as well. And when there's a good first pass and you get her right in the center of the court, there's really nothing she can't do. She sets so well, and her dump is so effective.
And Freiberger, a nice serve, and then a great dig by her as Warwick tried to go with a middle attack. Now it's going to be another attack from Miami. That's dug out again by Freiberger, showing off why she won Defensive Player of the Year. Koslow puts it over. It's dug out by Karen. Swung on now by Coyne. That's kept up this time by Smith. And Pertzborn puts it over. Miami keeps it alive. Now a swing by Williams, and another ball is kept alive by Freiberger. This is what she does so well, and that's going to be a point for Toledo on a nice tip by Koslow. Grace Freiberger putting on a clinic.
That's Grace Freiberger's point right there. You might as well just give her the kill. Being able to peel up, 3 balls on that point alone, and be able to keep your team in it and then nail it down like you did.
Great swings, too, especially by Chelsea Williams. She had 2 well-placed, hard-hitting balls, and Freiberger picked them up like they were nothing. This time she swings again, looking for a touch, not going to get it, immediately challenged by Gwitt. Dan Gwitt is constantly fired up on the sideline. He is a coach that is fighting for his team all the time. In just his second year as head coach for Miami, has turned this team around. They went 2-16 in MAC play last season, and now they're the 5th seed in the MAC tournament. And he's going to challenge here on whether or not there was a touch on Chelsea Williams' attack. I did not see a touch, Ben. I don't know if they're going to show it up on the board here. I hope they do so we can get a replay.
Yeah, I didn't see one either, but he was incredibly confident. All of Miami thought that they received a touch on that ball from Toledo. And also, out of any coaches in the Mid-American Conference, who has seen more blocking plays than Dan Gwitt? So he knows.
Nobody.
Look at the block there by Toledo.
Yep.
I think it definitely hit the finger.
Absolutely went off the
of
fingertips.
Sophie Catalano. So I think he made the right call there, but again, it's got to go through another body before the call can be reversed. That's a big point for Miami to take as well. That's a 2-point swing.
Yep. Puts them at 14-11 instead of 15-10 as the scoreboard reads right now here in the Stroh Center. Rockets are currently beating the Redhawks in kills 23-20 with a slightly worse attacking percentage. Redhawks with a .250, the Rockets with a .233. The blocking has been what has told the story here, though, in this one. Miami with the better blocking game so far. They've got 5 total blocks to Toledo's 4, but Toledo does have the only solo block of the match here so far today. I think everybody in the arena is in agreement that Catalano got a couple fingertips on that ball. Oh, never mind. Point Toledo. Call is confirmed.
So what I'm assuming is they just didn't have enough video evidence to overturn.
Well, she said confirmed, did she not?
She did say confirmed, but there's
video evidence confirms the call. So
I don't know that there was confirmable video evidence.
As Hicks now will set Williams again. She's blocked by Toledo. She's going to get another opportunity, though, as Miami recycled that ball. A third opportunity now as they got another recycle. Overpass, though, and Koslow takes advantage. Overpass that went across the net. Koslow swung down on it, and another point for the Rockets. They now lead 16-10. Looking to tie things up here.
Yeah, there's Koslow, who's the second leading attacker for Toledo. Been a little bit quiet, though. Has kind of come up with 6 kills sneakily, and not a lot of full swings for Koslow today.
Freiberger, a nice serve that forces a free ball to be given up by Miami. And now an attack from Pertzborn is untouched by any of the Redhawks in the block or in the back row. And Dan Gwitt calls his second and his final timeout of this second set as Toledo is up 17-10. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Mid-American Conference volleyball from the 2025 Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament here on Falcon Radio just after this.
I taught for 20 years, until I started forgetting my lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. Getting his early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard, but it gave us time to take control of the situation, together.
I can't imagine going through this without him.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The BGSU men's basketball team will head to Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Bucknell Bisons on Monday, November 24th at noon. Falcon Media Sports Network's Foster Rostai will have a preview, and Artie Abrego will have a recap of the game on bgfalconmedia.com.
Check out more coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network on X at BG_FMSN.
And welcome back here into the Stroh Center where the Toledo Rockets are up in this second set against the Miami Redhawks, 17-10. They've been blocking well. The defense has been incredible, especially by Grace Freiberger, and a couple of calls haven't gone the Redhawks' way. And here they are down by 7, but up in the match 1-0. As another serve by Freiberger just barely gets over the net. Redhawks manage to save it, but give Toledo a free ball. It doesn't end up mattering, though, because Catalano is shut down by that Miami block that once again makes its presence known. Gentry Warwick and Chelsea Williams teaming up there for the kill.
Yeah, they read the block well. They've had to read very well the last couple of points because Toledo's done such a good job at getting the ball to the right side, getting it to the left side, getting it to the middle, and just spraying the ball all around the court.
And that's, again, by means of Kelsey Smith.
Yeah, in the first set they weren't doing that too much, and you saw a much more effective Miami block.
Smith spreading the wealth here again. Koslow smartly tips it off the block, and it falls out of bounds. A great job by her to make that work.
I think Reagan Lance just touched the ball as it kind of bounced off the net, and Lance might have touched it. She didn't give an argument.
Yeah.
So a good call there by the officials. A sizable lead for Toledo now as well, 18-11.
As Utley will turn to Williams on the attack, but Williams is blocked. Absolutely erased by Sierra Pertzborn. Got up for that one and shut it down. As now serving is Adamski for her second in a row. Puts this one over. Creech digs it out. Utley now back to Williams. She tips it this time. Saved by Smith. Now Koslow on the attack, tipped over. Miami gets it. Lance now will attack. Another tip. Smith digs it out. Now a set by Adamski. And it's going to be another kill for the Rockets. And another kill for Sierra Pertzborn. And Toledo has reached 20 first here in the second set. 20-11 the score. Miami down by 9. As another serve by Adamski. Swung on this time by Warwick on the slide. That's a free ball now for Miami. Reagan Lance takes advantage, puts it down, somehow managed to squeeze it between the block and the net, and it finds the floor. 20-12.
Yeah, just a little bit of separation there between Pertzborn and Smith, and just enough for Warwick to get the ball through. She's been a little bit quiet today, but she's a veteran. She knows what she's doing.
And now a nice serve by Anna McClure. That's going to get her a service ace and puts Miami a little bit closer, but can they make this set a little bit interesting, or at least get some momentum on their side heading into the third? And Kelsey Smith says no to that. Goes over on the second touch with another dump. This time puts it down almost on a cross shot across the floor, and it finds the floor, and so 21-13 now. Toledo leads. Serving is Koslow. She puts it over. McClure digs it out. Lance bumps set cross court to Creech, who tries to go line. That's dug out by Toledo. Now on the attack is Heitkamp. She tips it over. Dug out by Creech. Utley sets it up, and no one is there. Nobody went for the ball. That's got to be painful to watch as a coach, as that ball just fell to the floor. Nobody made a move on it. 22-13 now. Toledo leads. Koslow puts another nice serve over. This time Creech digs it out cleanly. She'll get to attack now. Tips it over, trying to go long. That's dug out by Adamski. Now Pertzborn tries to put it over. That's blocked by Warwick. A little bit of fighting at the net. Warwick put it over. Toledo kept it up. Attack by Heitkamp is saved by Miami. And now Lance on the attack, and Lance with the kill. Reagan Lance cutting off that rally and getting Miami back in the scoring column.
Been a little bit slow for the right side for the Red Hawks, but nice to see Lance get a couple in a row. Now 3 for 5. She was 1 for 3.
Now
a nice 2 in a row.
A nice serve by Hansen. Heitkamp forced to tip one over. Lance now will attack for the Red Hawks. She goes off the block, dug out. Utley sets her again. She swings through. That's kept alive by Toledo. Pertzborn is down on the ground.
Looked like she might have landed on the right foot of Heitkamp.
Called a redo. She needs a minute. Stroh Center is silent. Most likely, like you said, Ben, landed on the foot of her fellow blocker there. We're going to take a quick break and be right back here in the Stroh Center here on Falcon Radio.
BGSU Hockey's freshman forwards Noah Morneau and Dominic Ryman were both awarded CCHA Weekly Awards following the Falcons' series sweep over the Ferris State Bulldogs on November 14th and 15th. Morneau was named the CCHA Forward of the Week after scoring 4 goals and 2 assists over the weekend, including his first collegiate hat trick in BG's 9-5 victory on Friday. This was Morneau's second career CCHA Weekly Award. For Ryman, he was named the CCHA Rookie of the Week after scoring 5 points over the weekend series against Ferris State. This has been 60 Seconds in Falcon Athletics. Check out more Falcon Athletic coverage online at bgfalconmedia.com.
And welcome back here at the Stroh Center. Seems like Sierra Pertzborn just rolled her ankle there. She's on the sideline right now. Checking in for her is Kayla Ozanich. Toledo looking to close out the set without their starting middle blocker. They swing on that one. It's blocked by Miami. Kelsey Smith goes on the attack off the overpass, so really off the block, just ripped that one and got it down to the back corner, 23-14. Ozanich now checking out of the game for Elmas, who comes in to serve. Dribbles the ball a few times. Look at the point. Toledo at set point here. McClure digs that one out. Creech now on the attack, looking for that back line. Doesn't find it. No touch. Toledo is at set point, 24-14.
An impressive second set for Toledo, to say the least, to come out and have the offense that they did and be able to work around the Miami block that was so good in the first. Now blocking pretty much up to even, and the Rockets have just hit so much better.
And that's going to be a service ace for Elmas to end it. Dropped it right in. So Toledo, a service error to lose the first set, and then a service ace to win the second. Things are tied up here in the Stroh in this first match of the the 2025 Mid-American Conference Tournament between the Red Hawks and the Rockets. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Mid-American Conference volleyball between these two squads here on Falcon Radio right after this.
BGSU Hockey travels to St. Paul, Minnesota for a rematch of the 2025 Mason Cup semifinal game against the St. Thomas Tommies at the brand new Lee and Penny Anderson Arena on November 21st. Join Falcon Media Sports Network's Nathan Burkett for Puck Drop at 8:07 p.m. with in-studio pregame show with Nate Hinners and Daniel Reidenauer at 7:45 on WBGU 88.1 FM, the home of Falcon hockey.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
This week's Falcon Media Sports Network Athlete of the Week is hockey's Noah Morneau. The freshman forward scored 4 goals during last weekend's series against Ferris State. It was the first hat trick by a freshman against the Bulldogs since 2012, and Morneau was named CCHA's Forward of the Week. The Windsor native leads the team in goals and is tied for the lead in points. Head coach Dennis Williams said, quote, "Got a hot stick right now, got to keep playing him. He gets rewarded because he goes to the right areas." In 10 games, Morneau has scored 7 goals, 4 assists, and 26 shots on goals. This has been Falcon Media Sports Network's Athlete of the Week.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
BGSU women's basketball heads up to Anchorage, Alaska this weekend for the Great Alaska Shootout. On Friday, they kick the tournament off by taking on the UC Irvine Anteaters. Lucas Kleinmeyer will be in Anchorage with a live call on Falcon Radio. Coverage begins following the MAC volleyball tournament action at approximately 9:15 p.m. on Falcon Radio.
Ben Korak, Andrew Smith, and the Falcon Media Sports Network crew covering the Falcon volleyball team.
And welcome back here for the third set of Mid-American Conference Volleyball here in the MAC Volleyball Championship Tournament. In this first match between the 4th seed Toledo Rockets and the 5th seed Miami Redhawks. We're back tied up here at 1 set apiece, as these two teams will look to take the 3rd set and go up 2-1 in the match and put themselves in a position to advance to the semifinals against the Ball State Cardinals, which will be an extremely difficult matchup for either one of these teams should they make it there. Ball State's only lost 1 match all MAC season, and that was to the Ohio Bobcats, who the Bowling Green Falcons will take on later tonight at 7 p.m.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for both of these teams in the next round against Ball State, especially because Miami has not made the MAC tournament since 2020. Although they're 7-time tournament champions, they have a pretty solid history. Toledo as well. It's never won a tournament championship, never made a MAC title match in 41 years of MAC championship history. They haven't even made a semifinal since 2023. So for both of these squads, it's a very big match today and a very big semifinal against Ball State to try and make their first title match in a while. Although 17-1, Ball State's a very tough team to beat.
An incredibly difficult team to try to beat in a match, having only lost 1 all season. As Creech puts a serve over, gets things started here. Now on the attack is Coyne. Went for the head of Grace Freiberger. She couldn't dig that one out, understandably. And so Miami will get the point off of Freiberger's face, and Creech will serve again. Puts this one over. Freiberger digs it out. Not exactly cleanly, though, as now put over on a free ball for Miami. Hicks now with a setter dump. That's kept alive by Smith, but Toledo can't get over in 3. It takes 4. And so Miami is up 2-0 to kick things off here in the 3rd set.
Yeah, just too much space left open in the middle of the court there, and a nice play by Hayden Hicks to find it.
Creech puts another one over. Koslow digs it out. Now on the attack is Catalano, and this time she's going to get a kill. No Miami block really was there, and she took advantage, just dropped it into the middle of the floor.
Yeah, the transfer from Clemson. Catalano played 3 years at Clemson, only totaled 7 kills on 29 attacks. More of a serve specialist during our time at Clemson. 250 kills this season for Toledo, so probably a wise decision, career path speaking, to transfer for Catalano. She's been very influential for Toledo this season.
And it's now the score is 3-1 in favor of Miami after Freiberger sent her serve long and out of bounds. That's her 2nd service error of the match. As now another service error, this time from Radashevsky, puts it too far to the left. The Redhawks are going right to left over your screens or your radio dials, wherever you may be listening. I
don't think too many screens in radio,
Yeah.
Andrew.
Screens mostly then if you're on bgtalkmedia.com.
Which you should go to for recaps and previews of the MAC tournament.
Absolutely. There's now going to be an attack here from Sophie Catalano, and Catalano is going to get herself not another kill. It's going to just go out of bounds. Thought there was a touch from Miami there. There was not. And so Redhawks are up 4-2 here in the 3rd set. Back to serve is Utley. The setter and the sophomore from Indianapolis, who transferred from Lehigh University prior to the start of this season and has been a consistent setter for this team when Hayden Hicks is not in the game, as Miami runs this 6-2 offense.
Yeah, only 18 matches played and 4 starts at Lehigh last year. Not too much Utley was able to do, but she's got pretty good thing going here at Miami and trying to continue that for the next 3 years.
As now rally here, a battle at the net. Kelsey Smith ends up with the ball above her head, and she takes advantage, swing down and through, finds the back line, and the score is now tied up at 4 points apiece. Toledo got the past 2 points, looking to go on a run here.
6 kills on 8 tries for Kelsey Smith so far.
Adamski puts a nice serve over. Creech attacks out of the back on a nice set by Utley, kept alive by Freiberger. She's been doing that all match. Koslow attacks. That's kept up by Creech. Now Williams will attack. That's kept alive by Toledo. Put over by Pertzborn. Utley now goes to Reagan Lance, and Lance gets the kill. ripped it off the block and right down to the floor. Miami's up 5-4.
It's nice to see Sierra Birdsborn back on the court for Toledo and back to playing to where she was, especially in the first half of that second set that Toledo ended up coming away with the win.
McClure puts her serve over. Koslow on the attack tips it over. That's kept up by Warwick. Now on the attack is Lance. That's kept up by Toledo. They go to Perchborn. Perchborn swings. The block keeps it up. And now Creech will go on the attack, and a nice set from Utley again, and she's going to get a kill, slicing it down the line, avoiding the block.
Very nice play, not only to notice that the block was a little bit toward the inside of the court, but also to notice that Adamski was a bit too far forward off of the back line, and nobody was covering that back line, so to go deep on that attack. Very nice play by Molly Creech.
And Miami is going to give Toledo basically a free ball here, and Kelsey Smith trying to go over on another dump, cross dump really, like she had in the last set, but this time it goes into the net. And 7-4 will be the score. Miami taking control of this one early on. McClure now drops one in. And Freiberger and Adamski collide. An attack comes out of it from Koslow, but Miami keeps it up. Creech now rolls one over. And Meadows is unable to get hands on it, diving for it, but couldn't get underneath it. 8-4, Miami leads.
And Macy Meadows has kind of been drawn back by deep attacks from Miami. She almost had her heels on the back line there, and then it just rolled over in front of her.
This attack from Birdsborn is going to go way long, nearly hitting the Miami bench standing on the sideline. And a timeout is now called early on here from Brian Wright. 9-4 the score. Miami leads it, looking to build on this lead and looking to take a 2-1 advantage on the match. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the 2025 Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament right after this here on Falcon Radio.
The BGSU men's basketball team takes on Virginia Military Institute at the Suncoast Credit Union Arena in Fort Myers, Florida on Wednesday, November 26th for the second game of the Fort Myers tip-off. Falcon Media Sports Network's Foster Rostai will have a recap along with additional content on bgfalconmedia.com.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Check out more coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network on X at BG_FMSN.
And welcome back into the Stroh Center for this third set between the Toledo Rockets and the Miami Redhawks. Miami's up 9-4 here in the third set. Match is tied at 1 set apiece as McClure puts another one over for the Redhawks. Kelsey Smith sets Perchborn, who goes line. That's dug out by Karen. Now Creech will be on the attack. That's dug out by Freiberger. Now Koslow will attack. That's dug out by McClure. Utley will now set Creech. That's tipped up in the air off the block, but it falls out of bounds, and Adamski is unable to save it. Another point for Miami. They're up by 6 now.
Just nothing Toledo seems to be able to do to stop this attacking for Miami. That was anemic in the second set. Now they've kind of figured it back out, not needing that block too much in this one. They're relying on errors by Toledo and some pretty nice swings by Molly Creech and the left side in general.
And that's really what Miami has been able to do all seasons. In the matches that they've won, they've simply forced their opponent to make attacking errors, to hit to them really because of how great their block is. And it's worked out for them so far this year, and it's working out for them here so far here in this third set. And that attack will work out for Molly Creech as she rolls it over and drops it right on the line. That was a good lead by Koslow, but it just barely clung on to the white of the Moe and John Stansbury court. And so Miami will lead 11-5. Kelsey Smith will set Heitkamp, she tips it over, and Heitkamp gets the kill, dropping it in.
She was far negative in hitting percentage for a while. I believe at one point 4 errors, 7 attacks, and 0 kills. Now up to 4 kills, 5 errors, and 19 attacks. She's been better lately, and that's directly stemmed from Toledo just spreading the floor out more so the blockers just don't live on the side of Olivia Heitkamp.
Perchborn serve is received well by Miami. Creech went on the attack. And a great dig by McClure after Heitkamp attacked there for Toledo. Now Kelsey Smith puts it over on the second touch. Wasn't able to do anything with it, just bumped it over with her knuckles. And it went over the head of every Miami player and dropped in the court. Toledo is now down by 4, 11-7 Miami leads. Perchborn is serving. Perchborn, we mentioned 79 service errors this season, but also 40 service aces. A nice serve by her here as Creech will now attack off it. Miami's forced to give Toledo a free ball after it went off the block, and Kelsey Smith will now set Heitkamp. That goes off the block. Toledo keeping it alive. Heitkamp will attack again. That's kept up by McClure. Utley now to Creech. Creech is blocked by Kelsey Smith, who sprinted across court for that. And Creech gets a second opportunity, and this one she puts down to the floor. Ripped it. And unable to save it was Sophie Catalano. Just went off her hands and right down. Screamer right at her face, Ben.
Man, 2 sets to that left side for Miami, who was just pounding away at that right side. You also saw on that play for Toledo, Kelsey Smith set from behind the 3-meter line, then the other side of the court inside the 3-meter line, then put 2 blocks on. She was just being picked on that whole time, had to do way too much to ask her to be able to stuff that left side one more time at the end of the play.
And this time, it's going to be Creech missing.
Chose the wrong side of the
court
there.
entirely. Yeah, choosing the wrong side of the antenna, and it landed way outside the court. So 12-8 Miami leads. Toledo still down 4. Can they get a point break and shorten this Miami lead? A nice serve to do it, and it will be a service ace for Kelsey Smith. Her first of this match.
Yeah, that was a rare service error there for Creech, but mostly rotational, as whoever the body was standing on that side of the court was rotating to the other side. I think it was Radoszewski.
Yeah, it's difficult in that rotation for somebody to get second hands on that first receive by Creech. But she's going to make up for it immediately by getting a kill. Striked it right down in front of Freiberger.
Yeah,
no
I think
chance
that
of
was
her picking that one up.
Yeah, I think that was something Freiberger thought she might have had a better play on. Maybe full layout might have been needed, but definitely felt like she could have got to that ball just a bit short of her.
Yeah, a lot of,
even though
especially at the libero position when you are aiming to pick up those cut shots, it's all about positioning. And if you guess a little bit wrong, you just give the other team a point, essentially, especially if they have a hitter like Creech. As now Molly Creech is going to get a service ace. Toledo overpassed that ball, and it flew out of bounds, so 14-9. Miami looking to reach 15 before Toledo gets to double digits. Puts this one over. Freiberger digs it out. Heitkamp goes in the attack, and Heitkamp with another nice one of those kills on a tip that she lets it get across her body and going off the right side of Coyne's hands, and it falls to the floor, tooling that block well.
Another one that Smith had to set, kind of from the right side of the court, way over to the left side, and Heitkamp, knowing she's not going to get a full swing, just utilizes the block, which has been the fallback for both Smith and Heitkamp today, and it's worked so well. Why stop if it's working?
I can't believe that Williams dug out that serve by Metters. That looked like it was going to go way out, but she did save it. Toledo managed to keep that one alive after a great back row attack by Miami. Kelsey Smith with a great dig. Miami's going to get another chance, though. Coyne puts it over. It was a roll, though. Toledo keeping it alive. Now on the attack is Koslow, and Koslow gets the kill. Putting Toledo down by 3, 14-11. Trying to get themselves back in this third set.
Another set for Smith from behind the 3-meter line on a dime to the left side to the freshman.
And now a mistake by Miami. You can't really have those in this situation where you got a small lead in this ever important third set, as a quick set to Radoszewski went right into the net up the middle. And so 14-12 now. Toledo has shortened this lead to 2. And Dan Gwitt is going to call a timeout for his squad, and we're going to take a break with them. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Mid-American Conference Volleyball on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network writes and publishes over 1,000 stories per year, including game previews, recaps, sidebars, opinion pieces, feature stories, and more. Head over to bgfalconmedia.com to view all of our content for every sport throughout the year.
On Friday, the 6th seed BGSU Falcons take on the 3rd seed Ohio Bobcats in the Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament in the Stroh Center. Falcon Media Sports Network's Andrew Smith and Ben Korak will have a call on Friday at 7 p.m. live on Falcon Radio. Check out more Falcon athletic coverage online at bgfalconmedia.com.
And after a nice serve by Radishitsky, Toledo tried to attack, but Miami dug it out and responded nicely, getting themselves another point on the board. 15-12 now, Red Hawks lead by 3, as now Alford will attack up the middle for the Rockets. Dug out by Miami. Chelsea Williams is stuffed, though, by Sophie Catalano, and Alford at the net put it right back down to the floor.
I think Catalano got most of the block, if not all. A little bit of spacing between the two, but so well placed. And a little bit undersized is Catalano, only 5'10", which is still respectable, but a very solid blocker. 50 blocks this season for Catalano.
The senior from Pittsburgh getting up there. This time, though, the block not going to work out. Chelsea Williams gets her revenge, puts this one down and gets a kill. Tool in the block once again. 16-13 Red Hawks lead.
Yeah, just got tangled up in the hands there of Catalano on the right side. Again, maybe just a step too far away from the net. But still a solid block and a solid read, and they had 4 sets of hands up there. So
Cameron Utley went for that corner cross court from her, standing on the right side of the Miami part of the court. Fell out of bounds, though, probably by just a few inches. A great call by the Toledo backcourt. And so 16-14 the score. Toledo closing in. As now serving is Adamski. She puts this one over. It's dug out by Creech. Utley now goes to Warwick. Gentry Warwick with a beautiful swing, but a better dig by Freiberger. Now Pertzborn's going to swing up the middle. A joust at the net between her and Warwick that she wins, but Miami keeps alive. Chelsea Williams goes over on an attack. That's overpassed by Smith. Williams responds by putting it back down. Toledo is unable to save it. 17-14 Red Hawks lead.
There's been spots where Chelsea Williams has just ripped through Toledo, and then there's been spots she's been completely absent from the game. It'll be big for Miami to get her back involved, as she was one of the leading attackers for Miami, especially through the first about set and a half. She's been pretty quiet lately.
And Ben, we've been talking about Kelsey Smith all game, but another beautiful set by her. This one across the court, across her body, off one foot, a dime, and Koslow says thank you and turns it into a kill. Koslow will now serve. 17-15 the score. Utley sets Creech. Creech with a beautiful swing, avoids the block, and a nice cut shot that barely missed the 10-foot line. Probably was at about 11 feet. Wow. Molly Creech and continuing to impress in her freshman campaign. 325 kills on the season coming into this game. That's now an overpass by Toledo, but Smith blocks the Miami attack off of it. She will now attack herself after Freiberger set her up. Utley now will set Creech. Miami kept it alive. Toledo unable to keep that one up from Molly Creech's attack. Probably should have been left alone by Adamski to Koslow in the back row, but she touched it anyway, and it goes over Koslow's head and to the floor. Miami now leads 19-15, up by 4, looking to reach the 20-point mark. And Brian Wright calls timeout for Toledo. We're going to take it with him. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Mid-American Conference Volleyball here on Falcon Radio.
Looking for a BG Athletics discussion show? Check out The Swoop, where a rotating cast of Falcon Media Sports Network co-hosts talk everything BGSU athletics. New episodes are available every Tuesday at 6 p.m. on the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel.
Ben Korak, Andrew Smith, and the Falcon Media Sports Network crew covering the Falcon volleyball team.
And welcome back here to the Stroh Center, where Miami's up 19-15 here in the third set of action. And things are tied up in the match. 1-1 against the Toledo Rockets, who are looking to get themselves back into this third set. Down 4 did shorten the lead to 2. But Miami went on a quick run to stretch it back out to 4 and to keep the Rockets at arm's length. Now serving is Ellie Hansen for the Red Hawks. The senior's going to put things over and get us back underway here. A nice serve by her, but it's dug up by Koslow. Heitkamp now on the attack after the set by Smith. Hansen now bump set to Lance. Reagan Lance gets the kill. Koslow couldn't get hands on it.
That was a deep try. Maybe just changed up the angle a little bit on the blockers. Lance was standing maybe just a step inside the 3-meter line. Just a very impressive swing there to get, around the blockers from deep. Also helps that Lance is pretty tall, 6'1".
Hansen with a nice serve again, an overpass by Toledo. This time Smith couldn't block the attack off of it, and it's going to find the floor. Creech put it down. 21-15 Red Hawks lead. Looking a lot like that first set here, Ben.
Yeah, Miami's looked a lot better than they did in the second set for sure, which has been their worst set so far.
And now a beautiful attack by Toledo. Smith sets Pertzborn in. Pertzborn puts it down. Sierra Pertzborn having a great game so far. Going to need to keep this up, though, to get her team back in the match. She leads her team in kills with 11 on 21 total attacks.
But just like the first set, Toledo's got to put some together. They can't single you. Or you can't single yourself into a victory here. You're going to have to put some long runs together and make sure that side out stays on your side.
Absolutely right, and this time they only get that same single point as Gabby LeBlanc checked in to serve. The junior setter from Phoenix, Arizona, put the ball way long, and Miami left it, so a service error from her, and the score is now 22-16. And now a service ace from Hayden Hicks, dropping it in just beyond the 10-foot line, and Miami is at 23, approaching set point. 23-16, Hayden Hicks puts it over, dug out by Freiberger. Smith now goes to Elmas. Coyne responds for the Red Hawks. Elmas will get another chance, goes off the block, kept up by the Red Hawks though. Hicks now to Creech. Creech is kept alive by Elmas. 2 touches put on the ball by Smith, and somehow Freiberger gets it over. Hicks now back set to Coyne again, and Coyne gets the kill and ends the third set. Oh, excuse me, does not end the third set. It puts the Red Hawks at set point.
Yeah, it looks like Koslow and Adamski there on the right side just kind of miscommunicated on who was going for the ball, and Koslow just didn't make a full move at it, even though she might have had the position.
Hicks puts it over. Koslow dug it out. Now Alford's going to get a kill, keeps Toledo alive for a little bit longer. A nice quick set to her by Smith.
Yeah, Toledo does need 7 in a row, though, which with the way Miami has been blocking is nearly impossible.
Yeah. In all likelihood, will not happen. Miami's going to go up 2-1 in this match. Just need to get the point here. Might get it off a Creech swing. Freiberger kept it up. Overpass, though. Second opportunity for Miami. Point Toledo. Oh, it's going to be called a double touch by Radishevsky, who put it over on the second ball because it was an attack, and she touched it with 2 hands like that. The ball came off her hand spinning. That's going to get called for a double touch every time. 24-18 now. Creech now swings, goes off the Toledo blocks. Freiberger keeps it up. Smith now to Catalano, and Catalano gets a kill. If Toledo's going to lose this set, they're going to at least make it interesting. 24-19. Still a 5-point lead for the Red Hawks as Head coach Gwitt will call timeout. We're going to take a quick break with him. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Mid-American Conference Volleyball in the 2025 MAC Championship in this first match of the quarterfinals here on Falcon Radio.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
The Falcons look to break their 5-game losing streak in their last game of the season as they travel to Amherst, Massachusetts to face the Minutemen at McGurk Alumni Stadium for some midweek MACtion on Tuesday, November 25th. Falcon Media Sports Network's Kevin Hutchinson and Carter Leonard will have coverage of the game on bgfalconmedia.com.
Check out more coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network on X at BG_FMSN.
And welcome back here into the Stroh Center. Toledo's put a run together, but Miami is still up 24-19 here in this third set. Match is tied 1 set apiece. Smith puts it over. Creech digs it out. She's going to get a chance to attack now. Goes off the block. That's kept up by Koslow. Smith now goes to Elmas, who rips it off the block. McClure keeps it alive, so Miami with a chance to attack, and Radoshevsky will get the kill. Miami will take the set 25-19 and will go up in the match 2-1. We're going to take a short break and be right back here in the Stroh Center with more Mid-American Conference Volleyball and a fourth set of action between these two squads. Is Toledo going to force a fifth set, or are the Red Hawks going to advance to the semifinals? Don't go anywhere. We're going to find out right after this here on Falcon Radio.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
BGSU Hockey kicked off their weekend series against Ferris State with a 9-5 victory. This was the first time the Falcon hockey team scored 9 goals in a game since December 6th of 2019, when the Falcons beat the University of Alabama Huntsville 9-3. Key contributors for the Falcons included Noah Morneau, who scored his first career hat trick, along with an assist for 4 points. Dominic Ryman contributed 4 points of his own with 2 goals and 2 assists. Bowling Green would skate to a 5-2 victory in the next night to secure the sweep over the Bulldogs. This has been 60 Seconds in Falcon Athletics. Check out more Falcon Athletic coverage online at bgfalconmedia.com.
Welcome back here into the Stroh Center as Miami has taken a 2-1 lead in the match over the Toledo Rockets here in the first match of this Mid-American Conference volleyball tournament. The Red Hawks looking to close things out here in 4 sets, while Toledo is looking to fend them off and force a 5th and final set. The blocking by the Rockets has been put a little bit on the back burner during that third set. In the second set, it was ever present. They really pushed it home. Chelsea Williams, especially on the outside, struggled for Miami, and Toledo won that second set big. But then the Miami block ramped up yet again, and Toledo couldn't seem to generate any sort of offense in the third set, and Miami won that last set 25-19.
A lot of slowdowns from Miami in that third set. Not a single total block recorded for Miami in that set, although Toledo did have one, so it's tied up at 6-6. But that doesn't really tell the story. A lot of slowdowns from Miami that have kept points alive and allowed them to get off 45 swings in that third set and land 18 of them for their best, second best hitting percentage so far, most amount of kills so far in the game for either side. And you got a lot of confidence if you're Miami in winning the third set, pretty much mainly with your attacking, and now knowing that you can get your blocking elevated as well has got to be a nice thing to fall back on.
And speaking of elevating that attacking, Chelsea Williams elevates and detonates, getting that kill and putting Miami on the board to start things off here in the fourth set. Koslow will now attack for Toledo, and Chelsea Williams will respond after Miami dug it out. Toledo kept that one alive. Now Catalano hits the block. No, hits the antenna, then hits the block. Thought it was the other way around there for a moment. The officials call it correctly. Miami leads 2-0 here to open the fourth set. Radoshetsky serves it over. Freiberger digs it out. Smith goes to Koslow. Koslow gets it off the fingertips of the block and gets a point for Toledo to get them in the scoring column here in this fourth set.
There's Toledo utilizing that block better. And we weren't wrong in the pregame to talk so much about the block. It has been, the main focus of this game. Everything has revolved around it, the attacking and the blocking for both sides.
And now another great attack by Chelsea Williams. Rips it off the block, tools it again, and gets another kill that way. You're right, Ben. The one touches, especially for Miami, when they're just able to get underneath the ball when Toledo goes for the fingertips, pop it up in the air and keep the point alive. They do that so often. They've done it all season.
It's gone a long way, especially because they're defensively not as strong as Toledo.
No.
And yet just being able to slow the ball down.
Their back row not nearly as talented as Toledo's is, and they're just able to keep points alive through the blocking. Toledo there trying to go long and get a point that way. Miami somehow kept it up. This time it's going to be Williams that goes long on a nice roll shot, and that's going to end up being a kill for the Redhawks. They're up 4-1. Toledo kind of in a situation where your back is against the wall. How are they going to respond here? Down 4-1 in the fourth set, down 2-1 in the match. Utley will serve for the Redhawks, drops it in, somewhat dug out by Metters. Chelsea Smith popped it up with one hand, got put over with two. Redhawks respond with a swing. Toledo kept it up. Now Koslow with a swing that's kept up by the Redhawks, mostly by Karen with a great dig there. Chelsea Smith now to Koslow, and this time Koslow finds the floor. Puts it between the two blockers, and it falls down in the middle of the court.
Koslow, a very impressive swing there. She took a step toward the middle and utilized that blockers as she does so well. 11 matches of 10 or more kills this season for Jessica Koslow, and 11 double-doubles as well. She affects the game so many ways, and look to her if you're Toledo late.
Miami giving Toledo a free ball. Koslow rips another one, but Miami keeps it up. Now Chelsea Williams is blocked by Smith. Smith finally getting a hold on that ball from Williams. Williams has been tooling her really all match long, and this time Smith gets the better of her. As now Adamski puts another one over. Utley now goes on the slide to Warwick. Warwick is shut down again by Toledo. Koslow and Pertzborn teaming up there to shut that one out. 4-4 is the score. Toledo has tied things up here in the fourth set.
That's a solo block given to Koslow. That's the fourth of the match for Toledo. Heitkamp, Koslow, Catalano, and Pertzborn.
Utley now goes to Williams. She tips it over. Adamski digs it out. Now on the attack will be Koslow again, and Koslow gets another kill. Karen unable to save it. And timeout Miami called by Dan Gwitt. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with more Mid-American Conference Volleyball here on Falcon Radio right after this.
The BGSU men's basketball team takes on Virginia Military Institute at the Suncoast Credit Union Arena in Fort Myers, Florida on Wednesday, November 26th for the second game of the Fort Myers tip-off. Falcon Media Sports Network's Foster Rostai will have a recap along with additional content on bgfalconmedia.com.
Cats are masters at using up their 9 lives, like chasing laser pointers into walls or jumping onto high shelves. But the one thing cats never do? Text while driving. So be like a cat and protect your one and only life. Don't text and drive.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Ben Korak, Andrew Smith, and the Falcon Media Sports Network crew covering the Falcon volleyball team.
And welcome back into the Strohs Center for this fourth set between the Miami Redhawks and the Toledo Rockets. Miami down in this set so far, 5-4, very early on, but they are up in the match, 2-1. Their attacking has come to life in the third set, and their blocking has been ever present all game, making Toledo work for every point. As Adamski will serve for the Rockets, Creech digs her out. Utley goes to Williams. Williams looking for a kill. That's dug out by Freiberger with one hand. Koslow now on a roll shot that goes long. Utley kept it up. Free ball given to Toledo now by Miami. Smith tries to go on a dump, and it's gonna get it. It falls to the floor. Initially was blocked by Warwick, but it just went off her left hand and fell on her left to the floor. Lance couldn't get there in time to save it. Adamski serves again and gets a service ace. Screech mishandles it.
And you're seeing a lot of momentum for Toledo right now. Everything just going their way. And, first set won by Miami. Felt like nothing was going their way. Second set, Toledo brought some momentum back their way. Third set, pretty even, but Miami still able to edge them out. And now we might be seeing a 5-setter coming up.
But Miami there with a great block by Gentry Warwick, who jumped up and finally got a block on Sierra Birdsborn, who with her 6'3" frame has been able to really so far do whatever she wanted when going for that middle attack because of how high she gets, but that time Warwick got the better of her. 7-5 now, the score, Toledo leading. Now this time Birdsborn's going to go for a line attack and misses it just to the right of that white line. And so 7-6 now the score.
She swung in 2 separate positions in the middle and is lined up on the right side quite a bit now for Toledo. Toledo's just got so much talent and so many different arms. Arguably more talent than Miami is if they can put it together for 2 sets in a row now that they need to come away with a win.
And they get another point there as Jessica Koslow gets the set and responds with a nice tip that falls to the floor. No Miami defender was there. 8-6 the score. Toledo leading. Creech now goes in the attack for Miami. That's dug out nicely by Freiberger. Now on the attack is Heitkamp, who's blocked by Reagan Lance, the solo blocker on the outside. What a job by the junior. And now Miami has shortened the lead to 8-7. Within 1 point, Hansen now serving. Puts it over, dug out by Adamski. Smith goes to Heitkamp. Heitkamp, a nice swing there. And Radoshevsky gets called on a lift there on the second touch. Tried to keep it alive with one hand. Got 2 underneath the ball, though. And so she is calling for the lift there. 9-7 the score.
A lot of back and forth here between these two teams, especially late in that second set and now into the third as well. They've kind of figured out each other, the adjustments that they need to make, and now it's pretty much just going to turn out to be who's more talented and who can play their portion of the game better.
Creech had 2 nice rips there, both dug out and responded well by Toledo. And Toledo gets the chance to attack finally and gets a kill out of it. Birdsborn again making herself known. Puts a serve over and gets a service ace. Sierra Birchborn doing it all. Her and Kelsey Smith really been carrying the load so far for this Toledo team, along with Kotzlow and Heitkamp a little bit as well. This time, Birchborn goes long, missing her mark. 11-8 is the score. Miami down 3.
Definitely, if you're Toledo, you have the momentum in the gym right now. The Stroh Center, the home of Bowling Green volleyball, but Toledo, because of how regional they are, a lot of fans here. You get a couple of points in a row, the fans get into it, and you got a lot of momentum.
And that definitely will gain you momentum. Toledo got a free ball there and took advantage. Heitkamp just got up and put that ball down. That's her strongest swing of the night by far. That would have gone 10-foot line had it not been altered a little bit by the block.
All-MAC first-team selection this year for Heitkamp, and just her sophomore campaign, such an impressive player for Toledo. It's been a big key to the day.
A little bit of back and forth at the net, but Miami comes out with the ball. Hicks goes for Radoshevsky, kept up by Toledo. Toledo now to Heitkamp. Heitkamp gets way too far underneath it, and hits a home run, going about 20 feet or so out of bounds and ended up in the stands. 12-9 the score. Miami is down by 3. Rockets looking to respond and tie this matchup at 2 sets apiece. Creech puts this one over. Smith goes to Alford. Alford trying to go off the block of Radoshevsky and recycle it, but instead hits the net and gets it back. So that will be 4 touches called, and 12-10 will be the score.
Yeah, no touch. Alford couldn't get it over. We've seen since Pertzborg exited the game with a bit of injury, we've seen a little bit less of her rotating on and off. She's off the court right now. And Alford on. Besides her, middle blockers maybe a bit on the weak side for Toledo, although their blocking, especially with Kelsey Smith in the middle, really doesn't miss a beat.
Creech put her serve into the net, so point back for Toledo, 13-10. A nice attack by Chelsea Williams. A misplaced set by Grace Freiberger across court to her outside, went over the net. Miami hit it back over, and they're going to get the point there. Went off a Toledo hand. 13-10 as a wet spot in the court is cleaned up. Miami down 2 points now, trying to tie things up, trying to win this thing in 4 sets. They just lost a 5-set match in their last game against Eastern Michigan, who missed the MAC tournament. Lost that final set 15-10, so if you're Miami, you want to close things out in 4, not give Toledo a chance. As Creech bump sets Coyne, kept up by Freiberger. Smith now goes to Catalano, and Catalano gets the kill off the tip. Radoshevsky laid out for it, but couldn't pop it up into the air.
Yeah, again, caught on the back row off of her serve. And now the libero, maybe a couple of moments too late, comes back into the game, and that's tough for a middle blocker, and even a well defensive playing middle blocker in Radoshevsky. That's tough to come up right off the net and play the back row, and you can see Toledo smartly just picking on her as soon as they see her and that back 3.
It's also, she's a freshman, so inexperienced. Her first look at the playoffs here really in the MAC, and a hostile Toledo crowd as well in the Red Hawks here. It's Toledo trying to tie things up 2 sets apiece. This time, though, Koszlow is blocked. Blocked by Warwick. The ball goes over all the Rockets' head and falls into the court. 14-12, Miami down 2. Utley to serve.
And we haven't really said Gentry Warwick's name too much. The All-MAC second-team selection this year. Only 2 kills on 10 swings, but 4 blocking touches. An impressive day so far for her, although she's been a bit outshined by Coyne and Radoshevsky.
She has been, but this time she's going to get another opportunity to swing on an overpass from Toledo and a nice serve by Utley, and she gets the kill off that overpass. So 14-13, Toledo still up, but Miami coming back. Utley's serve dug out by Metters. Freiberger sets up Koslow. Koslow's attack is dug out by Miami. Now Lance on the attack. That's dug out by Smith. Freiberger has to set again. This time she goes to Perchborn. Utley digs that one out. So a bump set this time by Karen, and Lance goes long on her attack, misses the court entirely. And 15-13 is the score. Miami reaching that Toledo reaching that ever-important 15-point mark.
Yeah, they need to win this set, mathematically, to come away with the match win right now. 2 sets, 1 for Miami, 1 set for Toledo.
A great swing by Chelsea Williams is somehow kept up by the Rockets. They're forced to give Miami a free ball, though. Chelsea Williams with another attack. That goes off the Toledo block, somehow recycled by Creech. This time Williams will tip it over. Freiberger trying to go over with a swing on the third touch off her back foot, falling backwards basically, and it goes into the net.
It's really impossible to set if you're Kelsey Smith, turning your number to the net and then trying to set it backwards. She was just pretty much trying to keep the ball alive with 2 hands under it, and very difficult to do. She can set from a lot of places, but not in that instance.
15-14 the score. Toledo still up, but now things are tied after a great block by Reagan Lance and Gentry Warwick. That ball went right back down to the court, and we're tied up here in the Stroh Center, 15 points apiece in this 4th set. Smith now trying to dump it. That's blocked by Warwick. It's kept up, though, by Toledo. Now attacking is Koslow. Overpass by Miami. Blocked was Perchborn's attack. Somehow kept up by Toledo, though. Miami's now going to get another chance, and Creech is going to get the kill. Puts it down the seam and puts Miami in the lead.
She saw an open lane. Rocket blockers just a bit late, and that's unsavable.
If you're in the back row, you can't do anything about that one. 16-15 the score. Koslow rips it off the block. Creech keeps it up in the air. Utley goes to Lance, who rips it off the block. It hits the antenna, and Miami now has a 17-15 lead.
Now that's bad luck there for the Toledo blockers that were in the right spot, did the things they needed to do, and still didn't come away with the point off of a bad block.
Brian Wright calls timeout for Toledo. We're going to take a short break along with them. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Mid-American Conference Volleyball here on Falcon Radio.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Check out more coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network on X at BG_FMSN.
Welcome back here into the Stroh Center, where Miami is looking to close this thing out in 4 sets against the Toledo Rockets. They're up 17-15 here in the 4th set, up 2-1 in the match. Toledo has had the lead for the majority of this 4th set. Miami just took it away from them. Things were tied up at 15. Miami has since gone on to continue their run. Kelsey Smith here will set Koslow, and Koslow will get the kill. Jessica Koslow finds her way back into the scoring column. And Toledo is now down 17-16.
The freshman's just been so good for Toledo. 14 kills on 40 attacks, 40 swings, and we're not to the end of the match yet. 11 digs as well, affecting the game on both ends of the floor.
And speaking of freshmen having a great game, Molly Creech with another electric swing and getting it down to the floor. Freiberger had no chance of picking that one up.
Both of them number 6, both of them on the All-MAC freshman team. It's just a battle today between the two.
And Hansen puts this serve for Miami into the tape, and it falls down on their side of the court. So 18-17 the score. Miami still leads. Sierra Pertzborn back to serve for the Rockets. Puts this one over. McClure digs it out. Utley goes to Creech. Creech looking for a kill, looking for a touch. Going to get neither one of them. Misses the floor. And so 18-18. Things are all tied up here. And now Pertzborn will check out, and Aremner Elmas will check in. She puts this one over. Reagan Lance will now attack for Miami, but she's blocked by Anna Alford. It falls over the Red Hawks' head to the floor, and 19-18 is the score. Toledo has taken back the lead. Elmas will serve again. They went on a run with her serving in the last set before they lost it. Utley will set Lance. Lance will swing down the line. That's kept up by Toledo. Kelsey Smith will put it over. Miami will save it. Creech now attacks, and Creech gets the kill. Ripped it off the block, and Elmas was unable to save it in time. Pertzborn will check back in for her. Reagan Lance and Cameron Utley will check out. Checking in is Hayden Hicks. And Hayden Hicks will serve for Miami. Coyne is also in the game for the Red Hawks, the freshman on the right side. Radoszewski and Creech also in the front court for Miami.
They've been the biggest blocking duo for Miami today. Although Warwick's the leading blocker, they've been the key duo of Coyne on the right and Staniszewski in the middle, and they couldn't make the block there.
And a great set by Kelsey Smith, and Heitkamp doesn't waste it. Tools the block and gets the kill. 20-19 the score. Toledo leading. They've reached 20. Miami, though, is right in the rearview mirror trying to take this fourth set away from them and end their hopes at a MAC tournament championship. Creech digs one out. Hicks bumps it up. Creech swings on it. Kelsey Smith keeps it alive for the Rockets. Now Heitkamp on the attack, rips it off the block. Hicks keeps it in the air. Now Karen to Coyne, and Coyne gets the kill. Takes it off the block, and it falls to the floor behind the Toledo blockers and in front of their backcourt.
Toledo backcourt still being caught a little bit too far back. Now we're up to 20 all in a tie game. 1-5 win by 2 now. And Toledo really needing it, but that backcourt's got to kind of settle in for Toledo and make sure that they can cover those balls.
They were making great plays earlier, especially in that second set, but haven't been able to replicate. Things are tied up at 20 here. As now on the attack is the Rockets on the swing of Catalano. Hicks now will bump set to Williams, and Williams finds a way to get a kill. Rolling it over and into a good spot. 21-20, Miami has taken back the lead. Creech is still serving. Toledo's got to find a way to cut off this run. Freiberger digs it out. Smith turns to Heitkamp, and Heitkamp with a beautiful kill. Ended up underneath the net there, but since she got the kill, it didn't matter.
I think that might be the first one of the whole match today that Heitkamp has swung that found its way all the way through, and that's a lot due to Toledo just getting attacks from the right and from the left, and Catalano forced the blockers over toward the middle and a little bit too far to the right, opening things up.
Casa will now attack for the Rockets. That's kept up by Creech. And now on the tip over by Williams. It's unable to be saved by Smith. Oh, an immediate challenge from Brian Wright saying Smith saved that ball and that the point should have continued. If the challenge goes the way of Toledo, we would have to replay the point. If it goes the way of the Red Hawks, the score would remain the same. Currently it reads 22-21. Things would be all tied up at 21 apiece.
Yeah, and only a 1-point swing there if this challenge is successful. So the replay here, hopefully they'll show it again. I mean, I think Kelsey Smith got fully under that ball, and so did the Toledo fans. And just a great play by Smith for that full layout. Who has been, I mean, I need to see, a heat map of Kelsey Smith and where she's been on the court today, because it is all over the place.
Yeah, the back row beyond Freiberger, and even obviously Freiberger can't get it, all of her receptions to target. But beyond some of them, Smith has had to run all over the court.
Oh,
and
yeah.
set from everywhere, which is something we see typically when we're watching Bowling Green. We see Amanda Otten do a lot, and Kelsey Smith really does the same thing. And just like Amanda Otten, can really do it all for her team.
And I do think, just comparing the two players, they are very similar in just the way that they can develop kills. They set so well. They play defense very well. But I do think Smith is a little bit better of a defensive player. Not the blocker that Amanda Otten is when healthy, but, Kelsey Smith seems to just be a bit quicker. She gets around the court so well. She's on one sideline one time, one sideline when you keep the ball in the air, and she's there for the next touch. She's just all over the place all the time. She sets from her knees. She does so many things that is just irreplaceable for Toledo. And, when you talk about player of the year, almost always is given to the best offensive player in the Mid-American Conference. This year given to Ball State's Carson Tyler, who is the best attacker by far. I mean, I think you talk about a player that their team can't play without, it's most likely Kelsey Smith for Toledo. And I think that goes for a lot of setters.
Yep.
But just with the way that she affects literally every portion of the game for Toledo. And I do think she definitely gets under that ball.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh.
I feel like that's been two very poorly called plays by the officials here. One missed that went against the Red Hawks in the challenge from Gwitt, and another this time by Brian Wright that didn't go Toledo's way. 22-21 is the score. Miami leads. Radoshevsky puts it over. Dug out by Toledo. Set by Smith to Catalano. That's kept in the air by Hicks. So on the attack will be Williams. Recycled off the block. She now tips it over. Koslow digs it out. Now on the attack is Catalano again, looking to get a kill. Going to get it on a net violation by the Red Hawks. The net is not moving.
Yeah. Maybe a challenge utilized there by Dan Gwitt.
Yeah, going to be a challenge by Gwitt.
Okay, well, the last two challenges that we've had, Andrew, we've thought it's been a different call than what's actually been on the floor.
We'll see if we're...
And, I mean, this could... I mean, there was... Oh, my gosh. Maybe, like, 3 stitches.
Yeah. 3 stitches
hit
on
the
her
tape.
On her...
on Warwick.
Yeah, on her armband. I mean,
that is the most 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, we are literally splitting hairs here. If you uphold this and call it a net touch.
But that kind of sets a standard of, like, you now can't not call that.
Yeah.
If you're setting a precedent of, like...
Yeah. I mean,
we're going to call this every time.
If a single stitch of her armband hit the net, she has a quick call. So we'll see where this goes. I'm not even going to make a claim on what I think it's going to be.
Yeah, I made a claim on the first one. You made a claim on the second. We were both called wrong, and this one's confirmed too.
So it is a touch.
Warwick is called for being in the net by a minuscule amount.
I mean, and that's just the play right there. That if you have to turn the point, if you have to stop the point because of that, like 3 stitches.
Oh, and what a serve by Grace Freiberger. Just made it over the net and dropped it into the 10-foot line. Miami had a chance to touch it but didn't. Dan Gwitt was out of his chair upset about that one at his team, and 23-22 the score. Toledo's up, looking to force a 5th set, drops this one in. Williams digs it out. Hicks goes to Williams in the attack, and she gets the kill! 23-23. We might see extras here.
Gwitt still not happy over there on the bench, although his team did just make a fabulous play to get them tied back up.
He is tough on his team. He really is someone who likes to be a perfectionist, doesn't like to see mistakes, and he's hard on the Redhawks, and they've responded this season by playing great in the latter half of it. As now Jessica Koslow is going to get an opportunity on the attack, tip it over, and put her team at set point to force a 5th set. Rockets looking to put this thing to 5. Avery Adamski to serve. Puts this one over. It's dug out by Creech. Utley goes to Williams, looking for a kill. Dug out by Freiberger beautifully right to Smith. Smith goes to Koslow, tips it over. Utley now goes to Williams. Kept up by Smith off the block. Now Adamski to Koslow. Kept up in the air by Karen. Bumped over by Miami. Free ball for Toledo. Will this be it? And yes, it will! Koslow gets the kill! Rolled it over to the middle of the floor, and Karen was unable to save it. 25-23, Toledo wins the 4th set. Ties things at 2 sets apiece. We're going to a 5th set here in the Stroh Center in the first match of this Mid-American Conference volleyball tournament. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with that last 5th set of action here on Falcon Radio right after this.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
This weekend, Bowling Green will host the 2025 Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament at the Stroh Center. Matches are scheduled on Friday and Saturday at 4 p.m. and 7 p.m., with the championship on Sunday at 4 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Andrew Smith and Ben Korak will be on the call throughout the weekend, live on Falcon Radio.
On November 16th, 2024, BGSU Volleyball defeated Ohio in 5 sets, clinching their 7th regular season championship under head coach Daniela Tomic. Falcon Media Sports Network's Chaz McNeil had the call on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Picked up on the attack, Archinska off the block, saved by LaPinta. Over is on the attack is Hovey. The Falcons have done it. Bowling Green will host the MAC Tournament regular season championship returns to the orange and brown.
This has been a Falcon Media Sports Network featured call.
The BGSU women's basketball team will continue the Great Alaska Shootout in Anchorage, Alaska on Saturday. Lucas Kleinmeyer will be in Anchorage with live calls throughout the weekend. Depending on the result of the Falcons game on Friday against UC Irvine, on Saturday, Bowling Green will either take on the St. Thomas Tommies at 9:15 p.m. on Falcon Radio or the Alaska Anchorage Seawolves at 11:30 on WBGU 80.1 FM.
Check out more Falcon athletic coverage online at bgfalconmedia.com.
And welcome back to the Stroh Center for this 5th and final set between the Miami Redhawks and the Toledo Rockets. This one's just to 15, and we're going to see who gets there first. Or maybe we'll even see extras. These two teams were pretty even in that 4th set there. Few runs happened on the way to the 25-point mark. Toledo won that set, though, 25-23 to force a 5th. We'll see if this one ends up being a blowout or if things will be close here yet again. As Molly Creech puts this serve over. Smith now will set Heitkamp. Swings it against the block, kept up by Miami. Williams now, flat-footed swings on that one. Smith will now set Catalano, and Catalano is blocked by Miami. Radoshetsky and Williams teaming up there. And Miami scores the first point of this fifth set.
Yeah, you can't afford many mistakes in the fifth set, given it's only to 15, and you see a lot of very different scores, with a lot of disparity between them. Even though matches might be real tight and the teams play together, it's just so tight.
As Heitkamp will get another chance to attack here, tips it over. Now Molly Creech comes out of the back row and drops it in. Molly Creech, what placement on that attack. Miami's now up 2-0 here in the fifth set.
And I think maybe her first back row attack of the game, just a completely different look for Miami to take that 2-point lead.
Didn't look like Freiberger was expecting that.
Certainly not.
Especially not expecting it to go in, as Catalano will attack for Toledo. That's kept up by the Redhawks. They're forced to give the Rockets a free ball, though. Smith now goes back to Catalano, and Catalano gets the kill, ripping it down the line and avoiding the block. 2-1 the score. Toledo gets in the scoring column here in the fifth. Now back to serve is Macy Metters, who's got 2 service errors but no aces in this game. Puts this one over cleanly, though. Karen digged it out. Williams on the attack. That's kept up by Freiberger. Now Catalano will attack, tips it over. Somehow kept alive by the Redhawks, but they're going to give Toledo another free ball. Smith goes back to Catalano, tips it over. Radoshetsky keeps it in the air. Hicks now goes to Williams, who swings through, and Freiberger got a hand on it, but it falls to the floor. And Miami's up 3-1.
Yeah, you saw 2 attacks there on the right side from Sophie Catalano. She didn't get 2 good swings off. She didn't get 1 good swing off on those 2, and Kelsey Smith just missed her mark a bit on the sets, which is rare to see from her in this match and on the season as well.
Somehow that serve from Radoshetsky was kept alive by Toledo. They gave Miami a free ball, but Miami just barely able to get over that themselves. Tipped over by Williams. Now a set over by Koslow, and the attack from Coyne by Miami. That's blocked but recycled. Hicks now goes to Williams. Williams rips it through, kept up by Metters. Smith now goes to Koslow, and Koslow gets a kill on a nice cut shot. Radoshetsky not in the right position. That's the dangers of having the middle blocker serving, is she can end up in the wrong spot in the back row. She was there, and a nice cut shot kill by Koslow.
She's got 46 attacks now, and we're not to the end of the match yet. 17 kills for the freshman that Toledo's relied on so heavily today.
Coyne's attack somehow kept alive by Freiberger. Toledo's going to be forced to give Miami a free ball, though. Coyne attacks again, and this time she's successful, getting the kill. Smith could not keep that one alive. What a rip by Coyne, putting Miami up 4-2. They keep a 2-point lead as Utley goes back to serve once again. No aces, 2 errors so far in this one for her. This time she's dug out by Metters. Catalano goes off the block, recycled by Toledo. Metters now back, bump set to Koslow. Utley keeps it up. Bump set by Karen to Lance. Lance goes off the block and down. Miami's up 5-2.
That was another one we've seen today that may be better for Toledo if they just didn't even go up for the block. Looked like it was going long out of play and just ended up splitting the hands and slowing the ball enough that it fell down right in between.
Either going long out of play or right to Metters.
Oh, my gosh.
Utley's serve.
Just disgusting.
Dropped right in on that back line. A beautifully placed ball. Looked like it almost was out, but I think it clinged on to the white line. And like you said, Ben, disgusting. 6-2 the score. Coach Brian Wright at Toledo calls timeout. We'll take it with him. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the conclusion of this 5th and final set here in the Mid-American Conference Volleyball Tournament right after this.
BG Women's Swim participates in the Magnus Cup Invitational at Busby Natatorium in Cleveland, Ohio on Thursday, November 20th through Saturday, November 22nd. Make sure to check out the recap of the event by Falcon Media Sports Network's Charlotte Beauvais on bgfalconmedia.com.
Remember, always be generous with the nutmeg. Just eyeball it.
Okay.
Mom's wisdom has served you well, but now it may be your turn to guide her.
Hey, I'm worried about Mom. She keeps forgetting her famous sweet potato pie recipe.
Some things come with age, sis.
And some don't.
Knowing the early signs of Alzheimer's in a loved one will help you make the best decisions for your family. Visit 10signs.org to learn the signs. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Ben Korak, Andrew Smith, and the Falcon Media Sports Network crew covering the Falcon volleyball team.
And welcome back here to the Stroh Center, where Miami's up 6-2 over the Rockets. Trying to put this one away here in the fifth set. This serve by Utley's overpassed by Toledo. Miami's just going to set up their offense, not even going to swing on it. Williams' swing goes into the antenna, though, before it hits the block. So Toledo's going to take that point, and they're going to try to run with it as Avery Adamski, the junior from Perrysburg, Ohio, right by Bowling Green, and Toledo, actually, will now serve. Putting it over, dug out by Creech. Utley now to Williams. Williams is dug out by Metters. Now Smith goes to Perchborn, who tips it over. Ooh. Miami scrambling, trying to get it over in three. They will, but it's a free ball. Freiberger digs it out. Now Koslow on the attack, and Koslow gets another kill, ripping it on the cut shot. Gwitt upset with his team. Specifically, it looks like with Warwick.
Yeah, it looked like Warwick and Lance were a bit late to that block there on the right side. And, you know, you got Kelsey Smith in the middle for Toledo setting perfectly up to that left side, and you get no blocks on Koslow. She's going to land it every time.
Koslow with a nice solo block there on the Warwick slot attack. Miami was able to keep it alive, though.
Somebody in the net.
Somebody was absolutely in the net.
It was Toledo.
Yeah, going to get called on Perchborn. Not sure if it was Warwick or Perchborn.
I don't know how they saw that, to be honest. I mean, it looked like both sides hit the net at the same time to me.
Typically in that situation, it does get called on the offensive player. But Koslow's going to attack here after a Miami serve. Just tips it long, drops it in. 7-5 now. Toledo's still down 2.
And a faithful effort there by McClure, but back left corner with like 5 square feet of room back there. McClure had to full out dive and slide 10 feet just to get close.
Ice in the veins of Koslow as Creech will attack here, rolls it in, but saved by Adamski. Heitkamp trying to get a swing off here. She's going to get a second opportunity off the block. Rips it and gets the kill. Heitkamp puts the Rockets within 1. 7-6. Nearly at the midway point. About to switch sides here if Miami takes this point. Koslow drops this one in. Utley looking to go to Creech. Creech got fully underneath that ball. Didn't get it over the net, and 7-7 the score. Toledo's tied things up. And a timeout now from head coach Dan Gwitt of the Redhawks. We're going to take a quick break with him. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Mid-American Conference Volleyball here on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network is finally back on the road with BGSU hockey. Make sure to catch the voice of Falcon Hockey, Ben Korak, on the call for every BGSU game this season on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love.
Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Check out more coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network on X at BG_FMSN.
Welcome back here into the Stroh Center. Things are all tied up 7 points apiece. We're about to switch sides here regardless of who gets this 8th point for their squad. Jessica Koslow at the line. She's played a phenomenal game for the Rockets. Puts this one in. Utley now sets Creech, and Creech looking for the kill. Freiberger digs it out. Smith tries to dump it over. Read by Warwick, but kept alive by Toledo. Perchform going to roll it over. Utley now back set to Lance, and Lance hits a home run into the BG student section. Missed everything there. 8-7 now the score. Toledo has the lead.
Yeah, I don't know where she was aiming there. It was just a bit off.
Just a bit off.
Maybe into the next county, but interesting to note here as well, every set won today, all 4 of them have been won from how we're looking at it, Andrew, on the right side of the court, but the west side of the Stroh Center. Every single set won.
It's really been a battle over on that side.
And now Miami sits on that side of the court, trailing by 1.
It's been a battle all match long, though. Will the Redhawks take advantage of really that winning side? As Creech will certainly put the first point on the board as Adamski with great hustle comes charging into the media table.
She got water on my phone.
It.
That's okay.
Laid out for that ball.
You do what you got to do.
Showing great hustle. As now Ellie Hansen will serve for the Redhawks. They took that point there. 8-8 the score. Smith goes to Heitkamp. Heitkamp looking for a kill. That's dug out. Miami gives Toledo a free ball, though. Goes back to Heitkamp. And this time, Heitkamp gets the kill. You give her one blocker, and that's going to be the result.
That'll get some on their feet right there. That was a rifle shot from the left side from Olivia Heitkamp, who struggled to work the block today from Miami, but not enough of a block there, and she's able to fire it right through.
The whole crowd of Toledo was into that one, as was the bench and the coaching staff. As now Elmas will put this one over. Utley will now set Creech, and Creech is going to get a kill, ripping it off the block of Alford and down. Almost looked like that one was on Miami's side of the court with how quickly it hit the floor. But Alford doesn't press all the way over the net, and the senior gets tooled by the freshman.
Yeah, again, a bit of spacing issues from Toledo there, just a step too far away from the net maybe, just allowing enough room to get it off that block and down. If she was a couple inches closer to the net, that was definitely a blocking kill for Alford.
Hayden Hicks puts this one over. The score is 9-9 here in the Stroh. A nice rip by Heitkamp, and Heitkamp gets the kill. An overpass by Miami that landed out of bounds. Toledo smartly let it go. Grace Freiberger had her arm out in front of Avery Adamski.
Yeah, Adamski's made some questionable decisions today on whether balls are ending up long or in. And
sometimes that hustle gets in the way of her making the right judgment.
Exactly,
call.
And Freiberger might have saved the Toledo point there.
As it stands, Toledo is reached double digits here in the 5th set. 10-9 the score. Some of the Toledo fans are already on their feet.
Yeah, I'd hate to be sitting behind them.
Yeah. It got to be tough for Miami in this situation. I mean, you have obviously parents and siblings and other family members coming out to support, but
their crowd has been sizably less rowdy than Toledo. And you know, the attendance here in the Stroh Center, 445 registered for this, which is actually pretty good for two teams that are not in their home arena for the first game of the MAC tournament this weekend. But you know, Toledo's definitely way better travel considering they're about 25 miles away.
Miami's a 3-hour or so drive.
And the fact that they have as many people here as they do is a testament to this program and how historic of a program they've had as well.
When I was calling the Bowling Green game against the Redhawks at Miami on Halloween night, I think there was actually less people in the arena for that game than there are in the Redhawks section tonight. So dedication from the Miami fans to be here.
Well, and this is big for any fan that's, you know, not just a parent of one of the players. Miami hasn't made the MAC tournament since 2020, when it was shortened to 4 teams. And they haven't won a MAC tourney match since 2018 when they defeated Ball State. So it's been a while.
A great program history, but one that has been not performing up to the typical standard the past few years. And Toledo has never won a MAC tournament, so big match for both of these teams. Creech with another beautiful swing for Miami. It's kept up by Toledo. They're forced to give Miami a free ball, though. As now on the attack is Coyne. That's kept up beautifully by Freiberger. Smith goes to Heitkamp. Heitkamp trying to go line on the tip. Isn't going to work out. Falls out of bounds. Things are tied up, 10 points apiece.
Yeah, I definitely think Miami lucked out there considering that dig by Freiberger and the setup with Miami just a bit out of position.
It's unbelievable how many of those digs Freiberger is able to get and how many of them she gets to target.
Gosh, yeah.
Catalano now will attack for Toledo. Her tips dug out by Karen. Now a nice swing by Williams. Toledo responds well. Catalano recycles it off the block. Now we'll tip it over. Looking to get a touch. Oh, but she's called for the lift.
Yeah, a challenge coming. Brian Wright just wanted to ask Catalano what she thought. And she put her input into Wright, and now Wright's communicating
to the officials. Looking.
Yeah, Wright's he's communicating from about 30 feet away to the official in the stand.
And the official in the stand being Brian Hemlo Garn? I hope I'm saying that right.
It's like Hemelgarn.
Yeah, you're probably saying it right than I. But
Hemelgarn on the stand, Stacy Fogelman on the floor, and then Mary Gray and John.
He had the best. He had the best view of that one.
But a bit of a puzzling call for me at least. And
I think honestly, what hurt her there, Catalano,
the challenge will be used,
was that she paused as she was trying to swing and sort of just paused underneath the ball, and that moment of hesitation on the tip is what caused the violation to get called.
She went almost from like a swing to a one-handed set.
Yeah.
And you're right, maybe not so much the act itself, just the switch from one to the other made it look like a lift.
But also it looks as if
she did.
Miami got saved because Radoshetsky ended up in the net.
Yeah, she did push the ball up. She did push the ball up, but I feel like there's plays all around the game of volleyball that you do push the ball up and a lift isn't called. And I think it helps that the palm of her hand is toward the sky and not underneath.
Yeah.
Which would be an automatic call with your palm in a pancake.
We have been consistently
wrong
with these officials tonight, so we'll see what they decide to call here. As it stands, Miami's up 11-10. This has been the most even these two teams have been this fifth set here. They have gone back and forth. This is the best volleyball that these two have played.
We were angling toward that the whole time as well, considering Miami dominated the first, Toledo dominated the second. It was a bit tighter, but Miami was able to win the third. And then it was very tight, but Toledo able to win the fourth. And now in the fifth, it's been as big of a toss-up as you can possibly get. Yep, and it's a point to Miami, so they did call it a lift.
So Miami's going to keep that point, and they're going to keep their.
That's just another one that I don't know.
Their 11-10 lead. There's been a few of those like that in this match. Miami just needs 4 points, and they're going to advance to the semifinal against Ball State. This was a team that was tied for second to last in the conference last season with a 2-16 record. And now they have an opportunity to go to the semifinals and be one of the top 4 teams in the MAC. Smith sets Heitkamp. She goes off the block, recycled by Toledo. Freiberger now bump set to Heitkamp. And Heitkamp gets the kill, putting it through the block. Ties things back up at 11 points. Now checking in is Metter. She will go to the service line.
I mean, a heck of a 5-set match here so far. We're, first to 4, win by 2 now. At
Metters puts this one over. Creech digs it out. That one might have gone long. As it stands, though, Chelsea Williams is blocked. by Alford. Williams got the better Alford the last time the two of them faced off on an attack, but this time the senior is going to win this battle. 12-11, Toledo now leads. Hicks bump set to Williams. Williams looking for the kill, kept up by Metters. Now Koslow on the attack, and Koslow gets the kill down the line. Toledo 1 point away from match point, 2 points away from victory. Metters still serving. Miami having a discussion. Toledo also going to have a discussion.
And possibly a challenge used there by Gwit.
Yes, challenge was called by Gwit, it looks like. We're going to see what the announcement is here.
Service line infringement, I think she said.
Service line fault. So whether or not Metters stepped on the line when she served.
I mean, this should be as clean cut as. I mean, and I feel like you don't use a challenge on that unless you know.
Yeah.
Which would flip it to
12-12.
Yeah, 12-12. I was going to say they wouldn't replay it because it's an automatic point.
Yep.
Koslow, as it stands right now, though, with that kill a second ago, up to 20 on 50 attacks. It's an incredibly impressive day. And Miami loses their challenge on that.
So I think it was really just a challenge for
maybe
Gwit,
just to try and even it up.
Yeah. Or
and
just to get his team a timeout to talk things over.
You did take some of the momentum away.
Yeah. Metters will serve it over. Now Hicks will go to Coyne, and Coyne looking for a kill. Kept up by Freiberger with a pancake. Toledo gets it over in 3. Miami's going to respond, though. Coyne goes off the block. Freiberger now big set to Smith. Smith now sets it up for Catalano. That's kept up by Miami. Now Williams will attack. She looks for a cross shot. That's kept up by Freiberger. Now on the attack is Koslow. Koslow looking for a kill. Trying to get a touch. Is going to get it. Toledo's at match point. No challenges left for Gwit. No challenge left, no timeout left. Toledo looking to advance to the semifinals. Could this be it? Creech digs out Metters. Now on the swing is Coyne. Smith bumps it up. Freiberger now bumps Koslow. She tips it over and it falls to the floor! Jessica Koslow tips it over and puts it in just over the Miami's blockers' heads. Toledo wins the last set of the match 15-11 and advances to the semifinal against Ball State. Toledo wins 3-2 in an amazing 5-set match that had everybody here in the Stroh Center, even the BG fans that filed in early, on the edge of their seats. What a match all around. Excitement on the Toledo side and tears shed on the side of the Redhawks, who had a great season, rebounding after winning just 2 MAC games last year. And a great year continues for the Toledo Rockets, and a great match played all around.
Yeah, last season for Toledo in 2024, lost to Ball State in the quarterfinal. They've not made a semifinal since 2023, and now they made the semifinal today and a date to play Ball State tomorrow.
Putting themselves in a position to at least have the opportunity to play in the final. Going to be a tall task, though, facing off against Ball State. They kind of got to look, though, at what it's going to be like. Miami, obviously not to the caliber that Ball State is with the unbelievable Cardinal offense. But Miami does run a 6-2, as do the Cardinals. So they're similar in that regard, and a little bit of a look at what a 6-2 offense is going to look like. So they're at least adjusted to it, used to it, when they see it again tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. More importantly, a tight match played today for these two squads, and that's something you want out of the way for Toledo. You want to get a tight match win in the books for you, and you go into the number 1 team tomorrow. But an impressive game played by Toledo today, coming from behind twice to tie it up and down 1 set and then down 2 sets to 1 set. So impressive today for Toledo. Definitely the more talented team, and they go into a game tomorrow where they're the less talented team, and they'll try to best the number 1 seed Ball State Cardinals tomorrow at 4 p.m.
And that's going to conclude our broadcast of the first match of the 2025 MAC Volleyball Tournament between the 4-seeded Toledo Rockets and the 5-seeded Miami Redhawks. Don't go anywhere, though, because we're going to be right back with a matchup between the 6th-seeded Bowling Green Falcons and the 3rd-seeded Ohio Bobcats in not too long from now. So stay glued to your radio, as we're going to be right back here in the Stroh Center with a second match of the Mid-American Conference Tournament. I'd like to give a huge shout out to Nate Hinners, who's been pressing the radio dials for me, Andrew Smith, and my color commentator of the night, Ben Korak, for this long 5-set match. Nate, really appreciate you and all the work you've put in. Go home and enjoy the rest of your night, as Artie Abrego is going to be taking over that position for him. So we're going to be right back here in about 20 minutes or so with the second match of the night and the last match of tonight. So that's all for now. Don't go anywhere, Falcon fans. We're going to be right back with your Bowling Green Falcons matchup.
This broadcast has been a Falcon Media Sports Network production. For more BGSU sports news and updates, follow Falcon Media Sports Network on Twitter X at BG_FMSN, BG Falcon Media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and head over to BGFalconMedia.com.